There you
Hey,
go,
welcome
Dennis.
everybody. I think we're live on the air for another episode of the Strat Football Show. This episode is centered on the Battle Royale draft review slash season preview. And I'm joined tonight, as always, with my co-host, Tom Cook, and special guest star, Dave Szyminski. Say hello, everybody.
Howdy.
Hello, everybody. I screwed up my
And maybe we'll have some other people. Who knows?
audio. I've got to come out of my speaker, so you might get feedback. Let me know if you get feedback or if I sound crazy. Hopefully not. So
No, you sound fine right now.
All right. Usually, if I switch it over, it does it automatically, but right now it's not allowing me. What did I just do? Anyway,
You're hearing echo?
No,
You're hearing echo in your head?
No, I was worried that you might hear echo or whatever. I'm good. But anyway, so we're here to talk about Battle Royale. You want to give a quick primer? What is the word?
So Battle Royale is a non-keeper 10-unit draft league. You draft a unit a day for 10 days to put together your team. So you have the units broken up into quarterback, halfback, offensive line, tight end, blocking back, and fullback is one unit. Wide receivers, defensive line, defensive backs, linebackers, kicker, punter, and kick returner, punt returner. So the beauty of this league is that you don't need a set number of owners. We ran it in the summer with like 8 guys, and we ran it against them. Typically, the normal league that we run every spring is between 16, 17, or 18 teams. And this year we had 16 coaches. So the teams are by no means all-star teams because you're taking an entire unit, flaws and all. Although they are typically, I would say they're on par, if not better than your typical 24-team league. We use the draft league generic cards, and the defenses are usually average. We have a few average. Most of them are good average. And then we have, once in a while, we'll have an outlier with an excellent defense or excellent good, based on run or pass. So we have a good match. We just finished the draft. I produced the files tonight, and we should be ready to roll sometime tomorrow. I'm going to be producing the pre-file. So we thought we'd take a look at the teams, take a look at the draft round by round, and then go from there. So.
Well, I thought that. Looking at some of these teams, I think that probably your elite 24-team league, like top 3-4 team in 24-team league, is probably better than these teams.
Right.
But because we're all drafting 1 year, the weakest team here is probably a playoff team in a 24-team league. Unless someone really does an awful job, which again you can only do so bad. So.
Yeah. The beauty of this format is it leaves you with a very balanced league. You don't have those leagues where, before you even start, that half the teams don't have a chance at competing for the title, and and there's 3 or 4 mega teams that are gonna, it's a coin flip between which one of those gets hot in the playoffs. In this league, everybody's got a chance. In this league, everybody's coming in, with the same type of team. Strong in some areas, weak in other areas, but there's no powerhouse and there's no weak sisters of the poor.
That's right. Now let's do a quick overview of some of our individual thoughts coming into the draft. If we had anything we were targeting specifically, if we thought we had a strategy, and maybe how our own draft unfolded in terms of going out the window right away, and then maybe we'll go round by round. Dave, you had the highest draft pick out of anyone here. Like Dennis said, it was a 16-team draft. Dave Szyminski, the Duke of Philadelphia, had the number 5 pick overall. I was drafting the number 8 slot. Dennis was drafting the number 12 spot. Now, Dave, when you went, Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, those quarterback groups had gone off the board. Now, surprising a lot of people, Neil Shannon took the Kansas City halfback group over the Philadelphia halfback group. Of course, Jamal Charles is an excellent card, and Niall Davis is a good kick returner. But I think a lot of us would have gone for the Shady McCoy. Plus, you get that guy Polk. I always forget his first name.
Chris Polk.
Chris Polk.
Yeah, the backup who has a very good card. David Patrick took the Seattle secondary, which is the only secondary that on its own was going to get you to an excellent pass defense, probably. So what were your thoughts when you learned that you had number 5 overall, Dave? Was there anything particular you were looking at?
Well, first of all, I thought 5 is a really nice position because it gets you really a nice top pick, and it still gives you a chance on the way back to get something else of an upper echelon quality. I always think that I can coach defense. I can't coach offense as well without the horses, and having the top running back sitting there for me, that was kind of a no-brainer to pick McCoy at that spot.
Okay, yeah, I thought so as well. I thought it was one of the better picks. We should talk about the rules set for a minute. This league, Battle Royale, there are no formation limitations, so you can go nickel, 3-3-5, or whatever on every down if you want to. And they do not play with the white die rule, the 6 white die linebacker rule, nor with the dump off. So now I don't want to get in trouble, Dennis. I don't want to start an argument. Dennis and people like Paul, half man, half Mankiewicz, refer to this rule set as a wide open rule set. To me, it's a very conservative rule set. To me, it's 1980s strat football, with stock rules, because guys go nickel 3-3-5, stand around and gets pass. But anyway, if I remember my strat from back then, and I thought about this when I played in the summer battle royale, the USFL, which was my first, very hard to sustain a passing game, and get a lot of first downs through the air under that type of rule set, because that's why Strat introduced the dump off and why Strat introduced the emphasized linebacker 6 rule for the flat passing, because it was hard to get a quarterback to complete 55% of his passes, and a lot of guys were lower than that. So to me, that's a rule set where running the ball and stopping the run is more important than it otherwise would be. And Dennis, I think, is right and has been saying for a couple of years that Strat is really kind of a running backs game where, look, in the modern era, you're going to get at least a decent quarterback. We saw Tim Bowyer just win the Super Bowl with Jake Locker. So, I mean, if you have a guy, decent completion percentage, fairly low interceptions, you can succeed with him if you got a real good running back. If you turn the tables around, you have a great quarterback and maybe a shaky running game, it can be harder even under the modern, even under the dump-off type of rule set, the regular rule set. So I think even more so in this game. So I think the premium here should have been on the running backs. What do you think about that, Dennis?
I would agree with that. And just to explain the reason why I picked this rule set, this is, I didn't play a lot of strat football in the 80s, so you're coming from that perspective. For me, this eliminates some of the frustration that you feel when you make a good call on a double team and the guy gets a long game dump off, or you have you have the guy double teamed, but the linebacker's vacated, so now even the double team guy is subject to the 6 LB rule on the D cards. Those rules, I mean, I see the purpose of it. I like to play in leagues with a bunch of different rule sets. I don't mind that, but this league, since I'm doing the work and I'm running it, this is the rule set that I prefer. I feel that there's less, of course it's a cards and dice game. There's going to be luck, but there's less of that non-coaching involved luck where you're just leaving in this league, you're leaving up to injuries, there's no injuries in this league. Your coaching ability, the head-to-head marksmanship, this has nothing to do with, very little to do with the NFL or with your typical strat football league. This is the flavor of head-to-head. I love this, where you make a call, you're going to get rewarded for it if it's good times. And yes, big plays play such a large part. Turnovers, long gains, short gains on the running back cards. I agree. Running backs are a key part because in order to move the ball, you need to get your opponent to call run or to let him call pass and run against that. So I like that the head-to-head aspect. It's more of a game. Like this is the way I like to play this game. So yeah, it may not be the perfect rule set for everybody, and I do plan on trying to run the summer version, the smaller version of our league with the modern rule set, just to see what the flavor's like.
Okay, interesting. I can remember when those new rules were introduced by Stratomatic, the dump off and the emphasized 6 linebacker rule, and a lot of the veteran Strat players didn't like it for the reasons you said, that they felt like, I made a good call, I double teamed the guy, and now he's getting a dump off for 30 yards. My linebacker 5 is standing there, gets flat pass, now he gets, 6'10" on my card, 23 yards, or whatever it was. Now I think it's 20 yards. So there's definitely something to a lot of Strat football coaches feeling like they get frustrated by things like the dump off, particularly I think at times. So I can see the appeal of a more traditional Strat football set before those rules were introduced. My only negative, and this is not the time to talk about it, but I just hate the 3-3-5, unlimited 3-3-5, because it's just so Strat ball-y to me. And when when the computer game first came out, all you saw was just nickel 3-3-5 pass, like 90% of the time, So that's the only thing I don't like. Otherwise, I could play with it. I mean, I've played in leagues like this. NSFL plays a traditional Strat type of rule set. Go ahead, Dennis.
Maybe we'll do that then. Maybe in the summer league we'll just leave the rule set as it is, but put formation restrictions in place. See how that goes.
Yeah.
That might be
really the only one is that OP nickel 3-3-5. But hey, right. I enjoyed the summer battle royale. I'll enjoy this one. So we all know the rule set coming in. So and so but it's certainly interesting and different. Go ahead, Dave.
Do you think the 3-3-5 is going to be just played predominantly by everybody?
I don't. I mean, when I play, I don't play the 3-3-5 and just sit around. I will use that. It's just like another tool in your tool bag. Pull it out when you need it. If you feel like you need to change things up, if they have a really good running back that always runs in runs, you can go 3-3-5, inviting them to run, and then key those outside in-run spots. It's just another method of strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah, Dave. I don't think
you'll see a lot of 3-3-5.
I think there'll be a couple of guys who play it almost exclusively. I myself, because I hate it, I might not play it, but I might play it. I was thinking about that in the middle of the draft, that I might kind of make it my default, especially if you play a 3-4 and you have a nose tackle 5 or a 6 and good linebackers. You could really do well with that set. And also with no dump off, the pass rush becomes less of a premium. So to me, I was not as worried about getting those sacks, even though they're a lot of fun to get and obviously hurt the offense a lot. All right, so moving on. So Dave takes the Philly halfback group. Now I'm sitting there at number 8, and I had some choices to make. And looking at some math and stuff, I had decided I would take Minnesota halfback group, Adrian Peterson if they were there, thinking that the running game was really the way to go. And then I had Phillip Rivers, I think, was going to be my next option. I like the idea of the Kansas City linebacker group as well, so I had them in the mix. Adrian Peterson went number 6. Phillip Rivers went number 7. So I took the Kansas City linebacker group, a 3-4 group to go 6-4, 6-6. Now, I had a dream in my head that I wanted to take that group and I wanted to play a 4-3. I wanted to bench the inside linebacker 4, and I wanted to play linebacker 6-6-6 if I could get a strong defensive line, and I had delusions of possibly getting the Buffalo defensive line on the way back, but that didn't happen. They went to Rick Byron's at the last pick of the first round, and the St. Louis defensive line was taken in the second pick of the second round, and that relegated me pretty much to a 3-4, but I like the fact that that pick pretty much guaranteed me that it would be pretty easy to get at least a good run and pass, then I could get a decent 3-4 line and hopefully do well against the run, which to me is key. And then we got down to Dennis Crowley's pick. After I took Kansas City, the 49er linebackers went, another strong 3-4 group that's going to help you get good versus run and good versus pass. Aaron Rodgers went. Josh McCown went number 11. Talk about strap ball. And then Dennis came up, and you had the choice, but really you felt between the Buffalo halfbacks and the Seattle halfbacks. And that I thought that's still kind of a tough call, kind of a coin toss. So what were you thinking there?
Well, the Seattle halfbacks is really just Marshawn Lynch. I mean, Turbin and the other guys. I think that's actually the only other person in the group. Is not going to do much for you. He's good guess right, but not much else. But the Buffalo halfback groups. So you have 30 carries with Marshawn Lynch, unfatigued. With the Buffalo halfback groups, both of those running backs, Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller, can go 20 plus each. So you have like 40 carries of unfatigued halfback to you. So that's why I eventually went that way. I was a little concerned about the high fumble rate for C.J. Spiller think it's about twice as much as Marshawn Lynch, but they're still relatively low. And I also feel like you need big plays, and Lynch has those on the edges. Fred Jackson has them on the edge of off tackle and a little bit of linebacker, I believe, but not end run. C.J. Spiller has a big run on the edges on every one of his columns. And C.J. Spiller, believe it or not, can actually run guest right. He's not bad, and neither is Jackson. So that's why it eventually pushed me to that decision. But yeah, those were the 2 units I was looking at. It was really hard not to pick the Seahawks.
And
it was really hard. I almost.
One of the reasons I took Philly was not just only McCoy, but with Chris Polk and Bryce Brown. They like you said, Dennis, they get me over 30 carries. I got another probably 20-some carries with those 2 guys who are really effective running backs, Polk and Brown, to go with McCoy.
Yeah, you can run the ball about 60 times a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they try to
I see Jim.
not watch my run, I've got
Jim
plenty of carries.
Say that again?
Yeah, Jim, are you there? I see Jim in our hangout. I'm not sure if he's just watching or if he's actually going to partake, because his first round pick was under mine. Jim, are you there?
It looks like his mic is muted.
All right.
We'll
find out his thoughts later.
Okay. Yeah, maybe he can figure out the mic. Jim, if you figure out how to talk, just talk and we'll hear you. Okay? You might need to have a mic, or at least make sure your mic's
your mic is muted. Oh, maybe he did that on purpose. Maybe he just wanted to tune in while he's doing something else.
Yeah, maybe it's not him. It says James T. So it could be a different James. We don't know. And I was going to say there, Dennis, as you were getting close to pick 12, and we got, whatever the middle of the first round went, and some of the obvious picks were gone. The 3 top halfback groups, the Seattle secondary, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. Did you have a strategy from after about maybe the 6th pick? Were you thinking, all right, here's the way I'm going to go? Did you have a certain type of team in mind that you wanted to be able to use, or were you going to go pretty much best player available, best unit available, and see what happens?
Yeah, the way you win in these leagues is by getting value in your rounds. So I never go in there looking at, okay, I'm doing this in round 1, this in round 2, this in round 3. Each round I'm evaluating, and that's the beauty of the Battle Royale format. I think Neil mentioned this as well, is that you constantly have to adjust and readjust and readjust. You can't just count on a certain group being there, because if you do, your whole strategy could get blown by the guy in front of you taking that pick. So when I was looking at my round 1 pick, and I came back to round 2, I had, I think it was 6 or 7 DB groups that equaled to 20 outside of Seattle who had already gone. So I wanted to get one of those groups so that there's a ton of linebackers that you could get 7 from that had 14 total. So on the way back, I just wanted to make sure I got one of those DB groups so that I would have good pass defense. I think more than anything else, that's the key to having success. More so than a good run defense is a good pass defense for the interceptions. So when I picked him around, the KC DBs were the one I picked because not only did they have the score of 20 in their DBs, but they had Quentin Demps as part of that unit, who was like the number 3 kick returner.
And looking at that Kansas City group now, it's 5-5-6 in the short pass. So 5's the corners, the 6 at strong safety. So you don't really have to double cover too much with that group, which is of course a real boon, I would say.
Yeah, I wanted that. I wanted the lowest rating at free safety, so I can use him to blitz, I can use him to double cover, and I'm not leaving a 4 alone on somebody.
Now, did each of you guys? I know I did this with a simple spreadsheet. Did each of you guys figure out all of the possible run and pass combinations for, linebacker plus run defense and secondary plus linebacker coming into the draft, so you knew, for example, if you took the Kansas City pass defense, what linebacker groups would get you to what rating?
Yeah, I had everything ranked. My defensive units, the top 16 of each unit highlighted in yellow, and then the rest underneath that, and the score that they would give you with that unit for a 3-4 and a 4-3. I
did the same thing. I'm not sure if you can see. I'm screen sharing, showing you an example of my 4-3 pass combos is what I have written here. What about you, Dave? Did you do all those combos ahead of time, or not really?
No, I don't do them ahead of time because just like Dennis said, when you have to adjust during the draft, your whole strategy can be blown anyway. So once you get the first unit that you're looking for, like if you want a defensive back unit or a linebacker unit, then you start looking at which is the other ones that will be available. So
Sure.
I was trying to get to a good pass defense, and I decided to start with the linebackers, and then I rated all the defensive back units next to see how many were going to be gone by the time I came to my next pick, so I wouldn't be caught short because I needed to come up to 20. As it turned out, I just got the very last unit that could get me to the good, which was the San Francisco D-backs.
Which is a good group as well. It was interesting, Dennis, you talked about not coming in saying, "Oh, I want this type of team." I will admit that having played in the Autumn Win this year and having seen those excellent defenses, I was like, boy, I played against that Baltimore Colts team twice, excellent. I would love to try and get an excellent unit, particularly against the run. I felt like I'd almost never have to call run if I had an excellent run defense. And that did color my thinking because I have not had that experience. And I don't know if it hurt me or not, but I mean, I think the KCLB group is a fine one, but that did color my thinking when I normally just go best person or unit available, and I tried to do that to some extent. I even had the tricky notion of maybe taking the Arizona return group somewhere in the draft to get Patrick Peterson as a corner 6, and then you could take a much weaker DB group and actually get to a good or even to an excellent. But I figured that their secondary as a whole would go before I had a chance to do that, and then it might not make that much sense to waste 2 picks that way, and their secondary went before I could possibly do that anyway.
Yeah, here's how you could have gotten excellent pass defense. So you take your Kansas City linebackers in round 1, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if I was going to run a 4-3, they would have had.
So you could have taken either McKelvin, the Buffalo returner, and paired him with a DB unit that had a 4 there.
Exactly.
One of the 20 units that had a 4 there, and then you would have gotten excellent pass defense. You would have had to give up like Romo and your 3rd-round pick.
Exactly.
It could have been done, but it would have been it would have crippled your offense.
Yeah, I think I didn't think it would have been worth it, based upon what was available there, particularly getting what I thought was a real good quarterback card. Now let's look at the first round of the draft. Since we've talked about our team a little, let's look at the general league. Were there any surprising picks for you, Dennis, at this first round? Looking at the 16 guys, and for the guys listening, we love to do draft analysis. We like to talk draft football. We don't mean to single anyone out and say that you did a terrible job. God knows we don't have all the answers, but it's sports talk. So what are we going to talk about? If we sit there and say everyone did a great job, it'll be a pretty boring show. So plus I promised Dave that I would try to insult anyone that I have not insulted yet.
That's right.
There's plenty of guys in here. Let's see that I don't think I've insulted. Tyke. I mean, I haven't gotten to insult him. I don't even know Rick Byron, so I certainly haven't insulted him. So there's 2 targets for insulting that I have for the show. But Dennis, any picks in the first round that surprised you and that maybe you thought went a little too high or a lot too high?
Well, let me just start off by saying I thought of all the years we've drafted that this group of coaches made the fewest bonehead picks of any group of coaches out there. I mean, of any past Battle Royale years. This, from top to bottom, this was a really strong draft, and the teams are really balanced. I thought everybody did a really good job. So if I want to nitpick that somebody won a few spots here or there, don't take that the wrong way. Everybody did a good job in this draft. In round 1, though, the round 1 picks that maybe I wouldn't have gone with, I understand Tyke's reason for doing it, but taking the Arizona wide receivers in round 1, I thought he could have waited and got that group in round.
That seemed to be breaking up a little. Dave,
round 2 was he, but he didn't need to take them there. People typically let wide receivers slip to begin with in this draft. In this
Yeah, he is breaking up, isn't he, Tom?
Yeah, Dennis, you're breaking up.
Oh, well, pardon me. Let me go grab my headset. But that's all. Talk about the Arizona wide receivers pick.
Sure. I was also I was surprised. I was surprised, of course, that Kansas City halfbacks went before Philly halfbacks. I wasn't sure why Neil decided to go that direction. I had the Philly halfbacks as easily the number one running back halfback group. Maybe even the number one pick to make in the whole draft, possibly.
Let me give you a reason, Tom. Let me give you a reason for picking him ahead. Charles has a better combination of short passes, meaning he gives you a third down weapon that can throw a short pass to the halfback. And as you notice, Larry Davis used him quite effectively in Autumn Wind. The second thing is with Niles Davis return touchdown, I think that affected him too. So I think those two factors give a reason for picking Kansas City ahead of Philadelphia. Whether you do or not, it's kind of subjective.
Sure, and Charles can catch the bomb, I believe, as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I suppose so. I guess I just like that McCoy rushing guard enough, and I feel like he's a good enough receiver. But it was just an interesting call to me. Yeah, the Arizona pick. I think a lot of us who delved into the draft with any depth, we're always looking for these units where you steal a player here or there, and it really helps your team a lot. I think Arizona wide receivers coming in were one of those sneaky type of picks where, hey, look, I get pretty good receivers. And I get a pretty good running back, Carter Wrong and Andre Ellington, who could also catch, and then I don't have to take a running back group until much later on. I understand that thinking, and maybe the rest of your team can get stronger in the meantime, but I agree with Dennis. I felt like that was too early. I think he definitely probably could have done that in the second round. I'm not sure how much of a difference that would have made. I mean, he could have maybe taken Tom Brady instead of Russell Wilson. So that was interesting. Now, I mean, Derby's a successful coach, and he knows the game really well. But I thought that was a little early. Were you surprised at that, Dave?
Well, that's what you do. You actually hit on. I know exactly when that pick came up. I know exactly why he did it. It was because of Ellington. He wanted to get his running back covered along with his wide receivers. So I think, and the fact that he could throw to Ellington too. I think that was as soon as that pick came up, I realized why he did it.
Well, yeah, I think we know why he did it. We were just discussing whether, obviously, it's not just for the Arizona receivers. They're certainly not the number one receiver group. We were just thinking that maybe that was a little too high. Dennis, I see you wearing your headset. Are you with us now?
Yeah, can you hear me better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so that's about. I mean, like I said, all the picks were pretty good. Even the Ellington pick, like Dave says, I see why he did it, but I wouldn't have done that myself.
All right, now moving on to the second round, right off the bat, I was surprised again by Tyke's pick. Look, the funny thing is, we can look through these picks, especially in Battle Royale, because you're building a team, and you might. And one thing I noticed is I would be like, gee, this pick may be a little too high. He could have waited. But then you look at the final product, and I look at Tyke's team and say, you know what, he's got a pretty good team.
Yeah,
so if I'm sitting here saying I'm not sure if this pick was too high, if I liked it. The proof is in the pudding, and the team looks pretty good. I was very surprised that he took Russell Wilson, number 4 in the second round, over, let's say, Tony Romo, particularly.
Matt Ryan. Here, the quarterbacks that went after him: Tony Romo, Matt Ryan,
Big Ben,
Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger,
Nick Foles,
and Nick Foles. So,
yeah. But especially I think Romo and Matt Ryan. Especially Romo. Matt Ryan has that 6 fumble thing you got to deal with. But Romo, I felt like, was clearly closer to that group of Tom Brady and those guys. I thought that Romo was clearly the best quarterback left once Tom Brady got drafted. Did you agree or disagree?
I think so. I think I again, now I'll put it this way. With the Romo pick, I was not planning on picking him in round 2. I picked right after Tyke, and I would have loved to round up with Russell Wilson, of course, but it may be in round 3. And I was going to take whatever one of those top 8 quarterbacks, if any were still there, in round 3, whoever was left.
Now, it's interesting, though. We've talked a lot about the running quarterbacks and how well they can do when you have good pass blocking. Tyke ended up with Indianapolis offensive line, which does have good pass blocking. So, I mean, I think that he kind of had an image or vision in his head for the team and went that way. And I think it is a team that's going to play well as they're put together. So it's interesting. I think he kind of went saying, you know what, if I can take I want this type of team, and these picks will yield me this type of team. So if I take a unit a little higher than most people think, who cares? And that's important too. You know what you're good at. You know what you do well. You know what works for you. Some guys, can play a wide open offense. Some guys know how to use a running quarterback. Some guys are better at the defensive side of the ball. So those things will all, I think, come into play as well. But I was a little surprised at that pick. Now another one, Joe Golden, just 2 picks later, took the New England return group, and I know you get LeGarrette Blount, and I know you get Julian Edelman, but I don't think of either of those guys, especially Edelman, as so impactful enough that you should go for that pick right there. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know who else I would have recommended there, but I was surprised by that pick. Were you surprised by that pick?
Yeah, I agree with you as far as it not being a strong enough double-barreled pick to go with that. I don't think Edelman and LeBlanc really justified it.
Well, remember in round 1, he selected McCown. So he has that quarterback that if you get somebody to guess run on, he's going to have a lot of success. So, what other halfback group would you have taken there? You can get you could have gotten Dallas halfbacks. You could have gotten the Eddie Lacy and the Packer halfbacks. If he wanted to go with somebody who's going to get you to call run, I'm not sure Blunt's the right guy, because even though his card's effective, it's very chunky. So you typically don't want to call run on those anyway. So yeah, I would have gone a different direction. And Edelman bugs me because his deep pass card is not that effective.
No,
give me that extra receiver, but make it somebody who can hurt you deep. You need big plays in this league.
Yeah, and then of course there were other return groups that I'm sure a couple of us had our eye on. The Pittsburgh one being foremost with Antonio Brown, that Dennis ended up with. The Philadelphia one with Deshaun Jackson, were ones that I would have liked better than the New England group looking for an extra guy. And I agree about the Edelman thing. Those type of cards, those possession receivers with the low average and they're good on flat passes, they don't really seem to get the job done in Strat compared to your guy who can catch a long gain, or maybe he's got 18 units long pass at a minimum.
Okay. We're trending negative, so let's talk about a pick that we loved in round 2.
I was thinking of that. Well, I love my own pick, but I shouldn't say that, should I?
Yeah,
go ahead. Talk about it.
I'm gonna go 3-12 if I felt like coming in, there was I felt like there was a decent amount of quarterbacks, 8 or 9 or 10, that were like definitely a cut above the rest of the quarterbacks, and I think you could definitely win with the rest of the quarterbacks. I looked at scenarios where RG3 might be my quarterback, and I think you can win that way under a certain system. But I was really surprised that Romo kind of slipped there, and that guys were taking defensive line units and things like that maybe weren't as strong, or things like the Denver offensive line, the Jets defensive line. So I was kind of surprised. I hate Romo, in real life. But, that great flat pass card, pretty good short pass card, low turnover, can throw a bomb. I just felt like that, that was a pretty good QB card to get there, and I like that. I think Matt Ryan goes 14th there. He's got a good card, but Matt Ryan is kind of a flat pass expert on the card. The short pass not that great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love the Denver wide receivers. The 10th pick in round 2, Lawrence Green grabbed them. They were a cut above everybody. You didn't need to play games to get that third impact wide receiver. Each one of those guys, Demaryius Thomas, Decker, and who's the other one? Welker?
Wes Welker.
Yeah, they're all maxed out or close to maxed out, short, long, or flat, short, and long, and you get a lot of long gains on those cards, a lot of yardage. So yeah, I like that. I like that pick.
Yeah, I like the Denver pick because those 2 starters are so good, and Welker's not a bad third option at all. But I think it was more. I felt it was more around where that pick would go. And then it's hard, I think, to look at some of these picks and criticize or even praise, because once you start looking at DL units and linebacker units, you got to pair it off with what the guy already has or what he's going to get down the road and things like that. So let's move on to the third round.
Before you go to the third round, Tom,
Go ahead, Dave.
I just want to tell you, my Washington linebackers, I thought of the poor man's Kansas City linebackers. That's why I thought they were a pretty good pick in the second round, having 2 12 asterisks on the outside, one with a 6 in coverage, a 5. So I got a 6 and a 5 in coverage, 2 12 asterisk pass rushers to come from either side of you. So I thought that was a great value in the second round, and I thought your first-round Kansas City linebacker pick was pretty strong, but I was pretty pleased with that in the second.
Now, Dave, that group goes 5-0-4-6. When you drafted them, were you planning on playing a 3-4, or did you consider
going
to a 4-3?
Definitely planning a 3-4.
Okay.
In fact, the only thing that flawed me, having the 0 at the left inside linebacker spot, I knew I could use him a lot to double team the tight end, but as it turned out, I got a 6 strong safety, so I'm probably not going to need to do that very often.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk a lot, and we talked about this in relation to tonight's Autumn Win Championship game and Tim Bolyer's champion Oakland Raiders having an average defense. You know, you can add up all the points, and you can look at the averages and the goods and the excellence and all that, and that's all well and good. But a lot of times you got to look and see what type of strategy the team affords you. I mean, once you get to excellent, that's a different animal. Those are tremendous defensive cards and chock full of 5s and 6s. But I felt the same way when I took Kansas City. I was then looking at secondaries where maybe the strong safety was weaker, which you don't mind anyway. The strong safety, so I could double team with an extra inside 4. So not all units are built alike, even if they have the same points. You know.
Okay, let me go a little contrary. I'm gonna blast you a little bit, Dave.
Go ahead.
There were only 3 linebacker units, and it was a little surprising this year. There wasn't that many that added up to 16 points or better when you're playing a 4-3. And I know you want to play a 3-4, but the only 3 linebacker groups I would have considered in the first 2 rounds were KC, San Francisco, Arizona. After that, they're all pretty much, they were similar to me as far as the points for your generic D cards. I like your point about them having, 12 stars on the outside. That's nice. That is nice. And I love the rush the passer. But at that point, if I'm not getting that excellent defensive card or a chance at it or locking up a good defensive card, 15 points out of a 4-3, that's not going to push you up to getting a chance at the excellent defense. So that's the only reason why maybe I didn't like that pick too much, but they would have gone shortly after that anyway. I just wish that they would have had a 5 in the middle.
Dennis,
Terry Riley should have been a 5.
At that point, when you haven't drafted your defensive backs yet, if you're going to draft your linebackers, no matter what one I took there, my next pick, I'm not going to get a defensive back good enough to get me to excellent.
True.
Well, no, I think Dennis misspoke when he said excellent. I think he meant to say good.
I am good. I got good.
Right, but you didn't. I'm not sure if that pick guaranteed you getting good. There was a lot of other linebacker groups that would have gotten you good too, I believe. There's a lot of them that gave you those same 15 points.
Yeah, like I said, I was going for the combination of 2 coverage guys, 5 and 6, 2 12 asterisks on the outside.
And that's nice. That's true. You have your halfback and fullback or the second tight end covered by a 5 or a 6. So that's another good point. I didn't think about that.
Okay, interesting. Moving on to round 3, the defensive back group started to go. I'd have to say, I think getting the Tennessee and Arizona defensive back groups at the start of the third round is a pretty good spot to get those. Those are pretty good units.
Yeah.
Look, nobody wants to get beat deep. You have a good secondary. You can maybe call a little more run. You don't have to maybe double as much on individual guys. You're still going to double a lot, of course, because double teaming is powerful. But I thought that was really good value for those guys to get Tennessee and Arizona. I'm trying to bring those up on my screen here. Here we go. Tennessee, 5-6 at the corners with a 4 strong safety, 5 free safety. That I think you want those 5s and 6s at the corner, of course. Arizona's only 6-4 at the corner, but 5 at safety, 5 free safety. Bottom line, look, I mean, after Seattle and Kansas City, you're going to have a 4 in your short pass defense but you wanted it to be only one guy, and hopefully you wanted it to be only the strong safety because the tight ends generally aren't as good as the receivers. But these were the best of the 20-point units as well, and I thought that those guys did a good job to grab those where they did, and probably pretty much guaranteed themselves a good chance at a good pass defense. I don't know if that worked out for those guys. Do they get good pass defenses? That's David Pagic and Sean Riley.
Okay.
David did get a good pass defense, and Sean Riley got a good pass defense. He's good on both. And I was interested. So we're kind of all over the place here, but that's okay.
Take a look at that column there. I have the second best numbers on the defensive back next to David Pachter's excellent.
Well, I see you got 27.25.
Yeah, nobody's better than 27.5. Oh no, there's 27.5. I apologize.
Yeah, there's no one better except for
4 or 5
Tom,
others.
Jason, Jim, and
was
David.
close.
No, I'm just teasing you. No, but everybody here, that getting good defense, like I said before, getting good pass defense, essential. Getting those linebackers helped you get that, so that's a good thing.
I was really interested when you look at this grid here that Dennis did, and this was extremely helpful during the draft. The draft units grid thing. I was really interested to look how many teams are playing a 4-3 versus a 3-4, and how many teams are good or average versus the run. I know it's a modern game when we say passing, but I really think under this rule set, running the ball is key, and stopping the run is key. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5 teams playing the vaunted 3-4 defense, and I think we all would admit that in general the 3-4 is a better defense in Strat than the 4-3. Are we in unison on that?
Yes.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, I know I feel that way as well. You only got 5 teams running a 3-4. All right, so you got there's 16 teams. You got 11 teams running a 4-3. 7 of them are playing average defenses. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 of them. Let me try again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting is hard. 6 of them. 6 of them playing average defenses. If you're playing an average 4-3 run defense, and you can't bring linebackers up as aggressively because you need to help defend the flats, although you can do that more in this rule set, I think you're very susceptible to being run on, even though it's not a great running back set. So I'll be interested to see how some of those teams do and how successful they are. It's David Pagic, it's Neil Shannon, it's Lawrence, it is Butch, Paul Mankiewicz, and Dennis Crowley. So I'll be interested. Well, of course you have a great offense, but so I'll be interested to see how those teams do on the defensive side of the ball with those average run defenses. But you feel, Dennis, like, hey, I want the good pass defense. I don't care as much about the run defense, correct?
Correct. Yeah, okay. I'm going to be hoping for a lot of those 10 rolls on the D card, the bailout +1, -1 blocking back roll.
Back.
That's your strategy. Okay.
Yeah, blocking just roll 10s against me.
Blocking back makes the play. No gain.
Exactly.
0 or -2. Thank you, Strategic.
That's almost as good as. Oh, he runs for 26 yards. What a great tackle! Somebody read that perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So going back to round 3. Baltimore linebackers, I felt kind of slipped a little bit. That was nice to pick up in the 3rd round. San Fran DB, very solid pick, Dave. One of the 20 groups like Dennis talked about. I had mixed feelings on Big Ben. This is a fine spot to draft Big Ben. I just had mixed feelings on that Big Ben card in general. It's weird because in the past you think of Big Ben as a big name quarterback and a guy who could throw the ball downfield. They changed their style of offense, and now it's like a flat pass card that's not too bad on the bomb, but not that good on short pass. It's just not the type of card you think that Big Ben's going to have. Although I don't have a problem drafting it there, I just felt it's kind of worth commenting that the Big Ben card is kind of strange for Big Ben. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you need big plays, and he'll give you the big plays deep. What is his guess right on 9? Or guess right on 5? One of those two?
On the bomb?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Let me pull it up right here. The Wisconsin badges. So he has a guess right on 9 and +30 on 10. So he'll move the ball for you.
Okay.
You know, air it out, baby.
What do you think about this Dallas Cowboys halfback selection by half man, half Mankiewicz?
At the time, let's see, where do I had the? Let me see where I had the only problem with DeMarco Murray. I think his carries are a little short. I had him. Let's see, I had him at, right around there, 7th, 8th, 9th. Or, you know, he has 217 carries, so he'll be like 23, 22 unfatigued carries. It's a little light for me, but let's see who Paul matched him up with. He must have gotten somebody else in that group besides the Dallas guys. Let's see.
Well, I'm not sure if Joseph Randall has a decent card. I'm not sure if he took.
No, I guess not. He just got the Dallas group, so he's going to have to use Lance Dunbar a little bit and hope that he's guessed wrong. And just Joseph Randall's that's a dog card. You don't want to use him. And Philip Tanner's nothing either. So yeah, Paul's got to watch out for using up all his carries and not having enough for the end game.
Well, I think like you said before, well, I had them as, you know, the 6th or 7th or 8th group. I think that I think it's best to look not only at where we have them ranked, but where there are sort of tiers of performers. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, even though the Dallas group, and I was kind of draft prepping on the fly. I wasn't like I wasn't as prepared as I was for the summer one, but you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even if you have DeMarco Murray as a 7th or 8th best running back card, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of chunky and wrong, as you would say, isn't it? Isn't that a chunky card with like some big hits and and otherwise not a lot going on? So, you know, I'm just not sure if even though it's at that spot, if it's worth drafting it there. You know, almost like if there's a run, later on I got to end up with, you know, the Houston backs or something like that, or, you know, I'd rather do that and strengthen my team elsewhere.
Yeah, good point.
But again, Paul's a great coach, great GM. That's another thing in these leagues. I mean, the coaching town and the GM town is usually very strong in these type of things because, you know, you get the hardcore guys. I feel like your more casual draft football player is not going to play in a league where he's got to, you know, where he's got to pay $50 and it's a prize league. So you know, so that town is that was interesting. I thought, oh well, here we go. This was possible. Well, first of all, I got to say, to me, sometimes when you get a guy, what makes him a great pick is what you already have, you know. And to me, Andrew Luck, to you, Dennis, at 312, not to sound like a mutual admiration to society, but when that pick came up, I said, oh, Jesus, here we go. Dennis is going to be loaded because you already had the Buffalo halfbacks. So now you're putting, look, the Andrew Luck card, it's not one of the top 5 or 6. It's not an elite card, but it is a very solid card. It's a versatile card that can do pass in all 3 zones. It's a low turnover card. It's a good must-run card. You know, it's a pretty solid card, and you got to pair that with those Buffalo running backs. And to me, Andrew Luck quarterback with Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller running backs, that's a really good pairing. And there were not a lot of good quarterback running back pairings to be had in this set. So I felt like that's probably about where Andrew Luck should have gone. But because you already have Buffalo, it made it like a great pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he was the last quarterback that on my list. If I didn't get him, if Joe would have taken him right before me, I would have gone a different direction entirely. You
got to go draft a quarterback at the end.
Yeah, or take Sam Bradford in the 8th round or Jake Locker at the very end, something like that. But because he was there, I jumped on him. I was happy about that. One pick that I loved in this round is Joe Golden's pick of the New England linebacker.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I love that pick as long as you didn't take the Kansas City or the St. What do you think? The Kansas City? No, not the Kansas City. The Arizona defensive line with it. That's a great pick. If you with him taking the New England linebackers there, he should have waited on D-line. He could have gotten Tennessee or Detroit at the end and had a badass offensive line in a 4-3 with a high pass rush on the edges and a 5 or 6, maybe both in the middle. Take the Lions defensive line late because you get with that group you get 5-5-4 at linebackers. You have 14 there. And then the extra linebackers, Chandler Jones is now a 5'9", defensive
5'12".
end.
5'12".
5'12". No, 5'9".
No, Chandler's 5'12", and Ninkovich.
Ninkovich is a 5'9", and then Chandler Jones 4'12" star on the outside. That's going to supercharge one of those defensive lines with no defensive ends. And he had a chance to take that pick, sit on D-line till the very end. Instead, he went in the next round. A pick that I will definitely question is with the Arizona defensive line, so which kind of wasted that pick because Ninkovich is not going to start over Calais Campbell, and on the other side, yeah, you can put
Chandler
Jones in there over was it Dockett or
Darnell Dockett.
Yeah, so you go from a 5'5" to a 4'12". That to me is not
5'12". Chandler's a 5.
Yeah. Chandler's a 5? No, he's not.
A defensive end? Sure he is.
Isn't he a 4'12" star?
Let me check. Hold on. You probably know better than me because you play more with these sets.
Let's see. Where is
You're
that?
Right. You're right. He's a 4'12". My bad.
So that why take that there? Wait. Take like I said. Take a Detroit Lions or defensive line or Tennessee Titans defensive line. But instead he kind of ruined his brilliant pick with kind of a too soon pick of the Arizona D-line. Although he does get to play a 4 because of that. But even so, I still think you could have done a better job.
Yeah. Well, I would say when you said that you love the pick, I would say I don't like the pick because obviously the strategy you had when you made that pick was not a good one. If you had, and I'm not trying to beat you up, Joe. We're just talking our opinions on these things. But if you take that New England pick and you got Ninkovich and Chandler Jones, like you said, you can get that Detroit defensive line. Now you're 5'5", 6'4", with 9, 6'6", 12 pass rush.
Yep.
You're still 5'4" linebacker, which is okay. But to take that New England group and then to play 3-4, and now you got like a 4 outside linebacker and a 0 for the other outside linebacker, and you don't have a lot of down lineman pass rush. It's kind of,
sketchy.
I mean that defense will play well in the front 7, but I don't think that philosophy optimized the pick, and I don't think that the pick was a good pick because of the direction he decided he would go in with those guys.
Yeah, I still think the pick's a good pick. The next pick is not a good pick. So yeah, I see what you're saying, Tom, but I'll still say that I like that pick there. That's a good spot for them. You get value, you get extra, you get defensive linemen with a linebacker group. That means you can wait on the defensive line group.
Yeah, but if you do that,
this is Joe's first draft, so I'm going to cut him a little slack here.
Okay.
I like the pick. The pick that I didn't like in round 3 was Jim's pick of the Cincinnati quarterbacks.
Order in the court.
I can't stand a quarterback with that high an interception rate on a long pass. That just kills me. I see that he's great on the flats and he's not bad on the short, but that interception rate on the Southern California Sun. Go check out that quarterback card. Bring it up.
Oh, I've seen it before. I'm just bringing it up.
Where is that? Interception on 9 or on 8, something like that?
Oh my goodness! 9 on right is 2 to 10.
2 through 10. Come on.
I didn't realize. Man, that is brutal.
That's like a 1960s quarterback card on a long pass. So that I would have waited on that. I wouldn't. That knocked Dalton way down my list.
Yeah, but he's a red rifle.
He is the Jinja Ninja.
And probably, and maybe even worse, is that the short pass interception is 2 to 10 on right. I wasn't thrilled with that Dalton pick. I don't even think I actually was planning on using him. Different strokes for different folks. I wasn't.
Dalton wasn't in my top 16.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go Jason Campbell on anybody, but I didn't like the pick too much either. I was surprised by it. I did like the KCDL pick a lot by Tyke because you get the nose tackle 6. I mean, you play 3-4 in this rule set, and you're going 5-6-5 at a line, and that's pretty nice to get that the nose tackle 6. I know the pass rush isn't there. I know you like to get sacks. We all like to get sacks. I do feel like the sack is not nearly as important in this rule set. But
it's a lot harder to get sacks in this rule set. Actually, it's a lot harder to get sacks because almost every single team has a pretty good offensive line. A lot of 7 pass blockers you have to go against to get those sacks.
Although if you get those the Buffalo or St. Louis front four, you're in pretty good shape. Especially if you have at least one real good blitzing linebacker. But I like that pick for Tyke. I agree with you on the Cincy stuff. We talked about New England. Move on to round 4. Okay. Round 4, right off the bat, Philly offensive line. This wasn't a draft where one offensive line left off the page as, oh my God, this is a great one to get. The Philly one's really good, though, and it's got all those 6s. It help you run the ball against these draft league defenses, especially help you against these average run defenses. So a good spot to take them, I thought.
No, it was not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I disagree. Let me look at my rankings. Philly, I had Philly in the bottom half of the offensive lines because you're going to start a 0 and a 3 pass blocker on the right side. I don't like that. A 5-3 offensive right tackle and a 6-0 offensive right guard, and there's not even like a 0-4 to bring it off the bench. You got 3 good guys and then 2 dogs on the pass rush. That's the one team that if you want to blitz against somebody, blitz against Hilton Head, because he's going to have trouble. If you have a good left defensive end, you're gonna make hay against that offensive line. I would have rather had Detroit, Cincy, Minnesota. Why not Minnesota? You get a lot of 6s and 5s, but they're all 5 pass blockers. I just didn't like that.
You know what? I have to agree with you in hindsight. Looking at them, I thought I had them as a number 1. I only had them like down around number 7 or so, and I did have several of the teams that you mentioned ahead of them. So yes, you're right about that. Going down left, I don't have all these things memorized. Tight end was interesting to me, because you got the San Fran group with Vernon Davis, you got the New Orleans group with Jimmy Graham, you got the New England group with Gronkowski.
Okay, I'll tell you why this pick by Tyke was brilliant. I was about to take this unit, so it broke my heart when he took him. But the reason why I like him is 3 reasons. Okay, number 1, Vernon Davis is the top tight end in the set. Vernon Davis or Jimmy Graham catching the ball are the 2 top tight ends. Vernon Davis has a 5 run block. Graham has a 0. So that you get the top catching tight end, or tied for the top. You get a 5 run blocker from that tight end. The other second tight end, I think he's a 4, maybe a 5. So you can run a 2 tight end set. He can at least run block better than Jimmy Graham can, and you get a pretty decent fullback to run in your blocking back set. It's a 5-4 Bruce Miller who can catch the ball a little bit, catch short passes. So I thought that gave you value all the way around, and I think that took away Anthony Dixon or somebody like that from who can run the ball short if you need like a yard or 2. He put him in full house. He won't embarrass himself. So I like that. I like that unit.
Well, I didn't mind the pick, but then when none of the other linebackers, the tight ends went forever, and then when Gronkowski's going, where did you get Gronkowski? You got him much later in the draft.
Took him, I think, around 5, maybe. Yeah, around 5.
Only 1 round later. Maybe it seemed like longer. So there's no doubt about it. I just thought it was interesting because it was the first tight end group taken. I was curious where they were going to go, so I just thought it was worth commenting on. Now, you took the pick I think a lot of people looking at in this round. A lot of people looking at it in the draft coming in. The idea, I mean, you were pretty clear, I believe, before the draft as the commissioner, that guys can only play the positions on their card, correct?
Correct, yep.
All right, so
flankers can only play, if you're rated a flanker, you got to play flanker. If you're rated a split in, you got to play split in. If you're rated both, you can play either one. Right. You're only going to play what's on your card.
There were only a couple of receiver groups that had like 2 like real strong, like maxed out receivers. Probably maybe you just Denver and Chicago maybe. But
and Green Bay's pretty good too.
Yeah, but I don't think Randall Cobb is maxed out though on short pass. But
no.
But I'm just saying, I'm saying actually maxed out, not close.
Gotcha.
Maxed out, okay. Which is a difference. But
so Chicago and Denver, that's it then.
Yeah, but if you grab the Pittsburgh returners or the Philly returners, you get a maxed out flanker in either Antonio Brown or Deshaun Jackson, and there were a number of teams, a host of teams, that had a real good split end, but not much at flanker. Probably most notoriously the Cleveland Browns with Josh Gordon. So if if you get the Pittsburgh or Philly return unit, then like much later in the draft, you can probably get a Josh Brown or an AJ Green or whom have you, and bang, you've got two maxed out receivers. Plus Antonio Brown is an excellent punt return card. So that was a pick that I think a lot of us were looking at and thinking about and eyeing. It was a matter of being the right fit at the right time, and you grabbed it, which I thought was an excellent pick.
Take a look at my pick and tell me who you think I picked with this selection. And I was thinking of this ahead of time.
Well, I know you picked with that, and I know when you made the pick what you were going to do. I know that you took Seattle's returners to get Golden Tate to get a very good number 2 receiver card, not maxed out, and that you were automatically going to try to get Calvin Johnson.
Exactly. I was targeting Calvin Johnson with this pick.
Nice. Yeah, but I would have to
I knew how bad the other wide receivers were for Detroit. That he was going to go late. You couldn't afford to just take Calvin Johnson because there was nobody to go with him. So I knew he would go late. This was my shot at getting him. And Golden Tate has got a great, I think, a great secondary card.
And a good punt return card.
Yeah, and the punt return.
I like Golden Tate's card, but it is a number 2 card. It's not a maxed out card. And I would say, Dave, if you had gone for the Philly returners to get Deshaun Jackson, or just taken the Chicago wide receivers who are still on the board, you would have still had 2 maxed out receivers, and at least one being really good deep. And I personally, I think that would have been better.
Golden Tate. Have you seen Golden Tate's bomb card? He is very good deep.
I know he's very good, but I don't think his 21 units is not maxed out. What's the name of your team, Dave? The Eagles, I guess?
Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, let me take a look at this Golden Tate card. It's a very good card. I'm just saying mathematically. Yeah, it's not maxed out, though.
Not on it?
Yeah, 12.
He's a 4.55.
Now pull up.
Yeah, it's a 4.55. There were guys out there that were 6s, and so this is a secondary. This is a number 2 receiver card, right? 2, 6, 11, 50. It's 18 units of 1 pass raw, and there were guys out there. Look now.
Right, but don't forget, I got his punt return card with that.
I understand that, but I feel like if you have a chance to get 2 maxed out receivers, I would go for that over a maxed out receiver, a number 2 receiver who's a good average, and a good punt return card. That's my own view. Because, I mean, if you had gone with, let's say, I'm looking at this in our league. I can't find now. Who took Deshaun Jackson?
Escondido. Paul took him. Escondido.
Escondido Burritos?
Yep.
Is Deshaun Jackson a split end or a flanker?
No, he's a flanker, but there was a lot of teams.
See, I couldn't take Calvin Johnson then, see?
Well, yeah, but you don't have to lock into Calvin. I mean, Calvin Johnson has a big name.
Well, but he has a big name. He's got the best receiver card in the set.
But you could have taken Josh Gordon and Josh Gordon
got a better card than Calvin Johnson.
But yeah, you wouldn't have you would not have been able to play Calvin Johnson and Deshaun Jackson in a 2 wide receiver set.
Look, Josh Gordon's card, they're both maxed out on. All right, maybe flat pass Calvin might be better than. For me, flat pass for receivers I don't even really pay attention to. I want short pass and long pass, but they're both maxed out, and Josh has a better average. He's got a yard and 1.1 yards better than Calvin on short pass. And then also, I just feel like at split end. See, I like the route of going for Antonio Brown and Deshaun Jackson because Calvin was like the only guy, right, that is a great flanker, so you got to get the split end first. But Golden Tate's not a maxed out receiver. He doesn't have maximum completions on short or long. If you took the flanker, Antonio Brown or Deshaun Jackson, then you open up. I could take Josh Gordon. No one, that team's going to be around because their flanker sucks. Tampa Bay with Vincent Jackson, he's maxed out. Cincinnati possibly with AJ Green. Once Terrence Williams got taken, you could take Dallas with Dez Bryant. There were a lot of good split end options if you get the flanker first, and you'd have 2 maxed out receivers.
Look at the stat sheet at the end of the year and read off Golden State's stats. Okay, I want you to just be aware he's going to have some monster numbers.
Okay, Tom, you need to double Golden Tate.
You could be watching Golden Tate or Calvin Johnson or Jimmy Graham or J.D. McCoy on the flat. You're going to have your hands full with wide receivers.
All right, but let me ask you this. Which is the better receiver tandem? Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate or Deshaun Jackson and Dez Bryant or Deshaun Jackson and Josh Gordon?
Unquestionably, I would say it's Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson.
Oh wow. Okay.
Des Bryant. Look at Des Bryant's card.
Des Bryant's good.
Calvin Johnson. Come on, give me a break.
I'll bring up Des Bryant's card.
Golden Tate, I think is going to have much better stats than Des Bryant.
Well, it depends on the coaching and who hasn't, but I'm just saying mathematically. I mean, Golden Tate averaged 14 yards a catch. Who took Des Bryant? What team did he go on?
What did Des Bryant average?
He did not get drafted.
No, he did. No, really?
Yeah, because the Dallas kick returner.
I looked at his card. I didn't think it was that.
If I wouldn't have gotten Tampa Bay wide receivers later on, I would have taken Des Bryant and paired him with Antonio Brown and had Emmanuel Sanders as my third wide receiver. But Des Bryant is a free agent.
Des Bryant, I'm going to sign him. Des Bryant averaged 13.3 yards a catch. The Golden Tate's 14, but 2.510. Oh, you're right. Des is not maxed out deep either. He's only 18, but he's maxed out short. And not every play is going to be a bomb unless you want to lose a lot of games. And, so I don't know. To me, if the completions are the same on long pass in terms of 18 units, if there are 5, like you said, 4.55, Golden Tate's a 4.55. Des is a 6.65, and only average 0.7 yards less per catch. So I don't see how Golden Tate could possibly be better.
He's not better, but he's better because of the punt return. If Dave would have gone with the Philadelphia with Deshaun Jackson kick returner punt returner, he would have had the worst punt return unit in the league, and not a very good kick returner either.
I suppose. I guess I'm excited by the. I like having max receivers, especially if they have a decent average. We're not talking about
in this format with the draft league defensive cards and all those receiver ratings. You need those guys maxed if you can get them.
I mean, is Calvin Johnson's card better enough than Alshon Jeffries to make it worth taking that unit over the Bears? 1.3611. I mean, Alshon Jeffries maxed out long pass and short pass.
Yeah.
And
your pick of the Bears receivers was an absolute steal. That should have been outlawed. You got them way later than they should have gone.
Even Brandon Marshall is maxed. He only has longest of 44.
Yeah, look at that. That's pitiful.
That's pitiful.
No long game. Come on.
Moving on.
The field. I would just laugh at that guy.
Moving on.
I wouldn't double team that. Go ahead and throw to him. I dare you.
I will. I'll throw. I found myself. I need to look at the schedule. I got to find out when.
Okay.
When the Eagles and the Wolverines. He's got Shady McCoy. I got Alfred Morris.
Dave's gonna send a limo to pick you up at the airport to make sure you make it on time for his game against.
You're not late for the game.
Hold on. I got. Let me check out Calvin's cover. I love Calvin. He's a great player. I understand that.
Brandon Matthews with you in the car in the limo too.
Ryan Matthews. Now you got the big run threat with Shady, so I mean it's not fair to say that you're
Berlin at Philadelphia in month 3. That's when you guys play.
I got Alfred Morris. No one cares about Alfred Morris. Come on now. I'll take Calvin has a great card though. There's no doubt about it. And look, you have Calvin and Jimmy Graham. That's pretty good. It almost doesn't matter who the split end is. I'm just saying for my money, a maxed out with a similar average is a better way to go than a number 2 receiver drops the ball as often as Golden Tate does. Anyway.
Look, I want you to look at his stats at the end of the year, okay?
You have LaShawn McCoy. You're going to get run calls. Other guys aren't getting run calls. That's not fair.
That's right. Well, if anybody wants to call pass against me, good. I'll welcome that too.
Yeah. All right. Continuing round 5, as Dennis said. Atlanta wide receiver is a pretty good pick, right? 5th round. We finished the 4th round. We're in the 5th round, aren't we?
Yep.
I was just berating Dave.
That's a great pick.
Oh no, we didn't finish the 4th round. We stopped at. We got stuck on.
That's a steal too.
Yeah, let's go back, finish the 4th round again real quick. I like Arizona TL as a pick on its own, but not because of what Joe did the round before. If he was going 3-4, that would have been a steal, I think, kind of, because they're 6.55.
Just to let you know, I almost picked the Arizona D line instead of Pittsburgh kick returner punt returner. I was going to pick the Arizona D line and get the New York Jet or the Philadelphia linebackers on the way back, but I wasn't sure they were going to be there, so I said, screw it, just let me get the bird in the hand. Forget about the waiting around to see if that last 3-4 linebacker group made it to me.
Now Paul got the coveted. See, there were certain picks that you knew were coveted. that Pittsburgh return thing was a coveted pick. You know that San Diego tight end blocking back with Ladarius Green was a coveted pick, and a lot of us, I'm sure, were looking at it. Where can we take it? Where, but you know, you're looking at your defense and stuff. So, real nice job at Paul to get that pick where he did. San Fran, oh well, kind of interesting. Good run blocking line, not a good pass blocking line. I have the San Fran deal. I didn't realize that. That's not very exciting, but it gets me the good run rating. And I like, look, if you're playing a 3-4 with these cards and you get a good run rating and all you guys are 5 or better, you're in pretty good shape with run defense.
Yeah, your cards are gonna help you out. You can call pass a little bit more aggressively and wait for that defensive line rating to come up.
Now, Frank Gore has done work with these types of cards in every league, so you get him at 415 is probably pretty good.
Jim mentioned that Sean had the best value picks according to his rankings.
Yes.
I didn't sit down and figure out who had the best value picks according to my rankings, but I have to guess it'd be me. So if you were using your own rankings and you don't get the best value picks, Jim, what happened? How come you didn't get the best value picks? You were using your own list.
well, you know, guys who fall and stuff, you know. So I know you're saying that. It's pretty funny. I didn't like it. Look, this is just like the SSFA preview. We get mostly negative on here, I guess, but you know, what can I say? I mean, we're trying to have some balance, but I tend to be the negative guy, I guess. The David Pachter factor. I did not like that San Diego return pick. I know you're getting Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen's not maxed out, is he?
I think he's maxed.
He's not
short or flat. One of those.
It's not a high average. What team is David Pachter? What's the name of his team?
San Francisco.
Okay.
Let me see.
And Keenan only plays split end, and he drafted A.J. Green later on, so he's going to be a third receiver. He's maxed out short, but the long pass, that's pitiful. The long pass is pitiful.
It's almost Brandon Marshall pitiful.
He's maxed short. Keenan Allen's maxed short.
Yeah, you know, I could talk more smack, but he's got LeSean McCoy.
He's a 5'6". He's a 5'6".
Yeah, so that long pass card is bad, and not only that, but he can't play flanker. And later on, he got the Cincinnati a receiving group, but A.J. Green has a split end. And I know you get Danny Woodhead in this group, and he's okay and helpful, but I'm just not sure what you get out of that San Diego return group that makes it worth taking there. Again, the Philly return, I know the Philly returner sucks.
The Philly return unit would have been a better pick there.
The Philly return unit goes the next round. You could have A.J. Green and Deshaun Jackson, 2 maxed out receivers.
That's the combo, yep.
You know, so I didn't care for that pick too much.
Although Woodhead can go deep. It's always good to have a halfback that can go deep in this format.
Yeah, it sure is, but
yeah,
I don't know if you had to take it right there.
Right.
So go to round 5. Atlanta receivers, pretty good pick. They kind of now. I'm just curious. I love
Why would you not take the Chicago receivers there though?
Yeah, why do you take Atlanta over Chicago? Anybody? You get a better third receiver, Harry Douglas.
Yeah, but you can always make up for that in the.
That's a pretty good card.
Say what, Dave?
Douglas has a pretty good card. Might have been for the third receiver.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, but why not take the Green Bay? If you're going to go for 3 receivers, why not take Green Bay there?
Oh, was Green Bay available there? Yeah, Green Bay is a better set, I think.
Where did Green Bay go?
In the next round, round 6.
Oh yeah, 6, 7. Yeah,
crazy.
Talk about
crazy.
That's true.
So right. I would have gone Green Bay or Chicago there over Atlanta.
Now I gotta say,
they're a good group, but not the best group you could have made.
No, yeah, that's it. Atlanta's a good group, but there was a couple of groups that were still better than them, and so Chicago has to go ahead of Atlanta, I think, because I mean, how often are you going to go 3 wide in this format anyway, and beat people? You need that white. You need the white die 6 to go 3 wide and throw those flat passes. I got to say, both of you guys did well to get the New Orleans tight ends and the New England tight ends in this round because, you know, those are the San Diego tight ends are special because you get Ladarius Green. That's like the strap ball pick. But like you said, the San Fran tight ends, the New Orleans tight ends, the New England tight ends, you're getting that one stud tight end. And when you're already going to have at least one max wideout, that's really nice. So I thought you guys both did well.
The only thing I didn't like about the New Orleans tight ends, he's got no help. It's just Jimmy Graham, and that's it. I mean, none of those other cards are helpful.
Well, okay, what you missed there, Dennis, I'm going to actually start Watson at tight end.
Oh, show me Benjamin Watson. Show me that mystery.
Ben Watson is a 5 blocker, and because of Graham being a 0, that kind of would hurt me anyway. I knew I wasn't going to get a blocking back that could receive. So Watson on a short pass is very adequate. He can catch the bomb. So the fact that he could catch the bomb, and he was a decent average on the 4, on the short pass. I'm going to play a double tight end offense with Watson and Graham as my tight ends.
Okay, I like that. Show me my team.
And look at Watson's stats in Autumn Wind. If you use him, effectively, and nobody's going to be double teaming him, he's going to be a nice outlet pass for me.
Can Huma Nui go deep? No, he can't.
No.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I like that.
Period is short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least the blocking back. The blocking back that comes with
New England.
New England's not bad. He's a 5'4". You're not getting any pass blocking on your Ben Watson pick, but I still like your ability to have a 5 blocker and to be able to go deep. So that's a good combo.
That was the thing. Go deep, 5 blocker, decent short pass numbers.
Well, Jed Collins is a 4-3, so you get a little something if you need it, I guess.
Yeah, but I just don't think that's effective enough. So I think Watson gives me a lot more of a weapon than Collins does.
No. I was just pointing out Dennis saying that you don't get any pass blocking help there. But I was saying just in case you're facing a good asterisk, if you wanted to ever go block back, you do have at least some option there with Collins.
Right,
I agree. I would play Watson and Graham. When you said that you were going to start Watson, I was shocked for a minute because I thought you were telling me that you were going to bench Jimmy Graham.
No, no.
And I was getting very concerned, Dave.
Well, Dave, you can use him as your blocking back too.
Looking out for me, Tom.
Okay. I can't throw trash. You got LaShawn McCoy. I got to guess run. I got Alfred Morris. It's not fair.
All right. Any other picks here to stand out?
Detroit offensive line is a nice pick to get there. Lawrence took Matt Forte, Chicago halfbacks, right before I was going to. I know Forte's not great, but I'm kind of looking forward to that. I just settled for Chicago wideouts, which I think was a good value, but there was other ways to get those 2 maxes, so not the. What's with the Minnesota returners there?
What was about the Baltimore returners? What was the attraction there?
Well, Tannen Dawson has a great punt return card.
Oh, that's right. Dawson's.
That might have been just a pure return pick.
Yeah.
What do you think? Then Jacoby Jones is a decent 3rd receiver or 4th receiver, I guess, but no great shakes.
All right, I
see the reason now.
The Minnesota returners and the Detroit tight ends. I was surprised with those 2. I think. I know you get Joey Cabell, he can catch, and he's another runner, but you're not really getting a good tight end. I don't know. The Minnesota returners. Corde's got a great kick return card.
I would have taken the Philadelphia tight ends over Detroit. I like that combo. Rick, a good pick there at the end. Selleck can go deep. He's a 5 pass blocker, and Zach Ertz can go deep. So two good tight ends there.
Yeah, Ertz can also play blocking back on his card if you need to. So you can cherry pick the matchup a little bit or something. Moving on to round 6. Now my grid is incomplete because I stopped filling it in. So, but I can go to your thing, I know, which is the land of green. We go to land. Well, we'll stay on my grid for now, I guess.
Yeah, stay on your group.
Round 6. Let's see. In the offensive line, I thought they slipped. I thought that was a nice pickup. Doesn't have the run blocking, but one of the best pass blocking lines in the set.
And two 7s at the end. So your defensive ends are going to get neutralized.
Yeah, I was beginning to think they were going to slip to me. I was getting excited. And it didn't happen. And he's got Russell Wilson, so that's like a perfect compliment. So I think Tyke we heard from. I thought, all right. So
all got a steal with those Green Bay receivers.
Yeah, Joe should have taken Green Bay receivers. I mean, I know that you have a stud in Josh Gordon, but you need depth. Who did he wind up with as his other receiver groups? Let me look at his.
I mean, Jordy Nelson's pretty good.
Yeah, dang good.
So apparently we're hating all of Joe Golden's picks.
Joe, hang in there, buddy. Oh, that's right, because he took Julian Edelman, so he's having the 6'4" Josh Gordon. I guess that's not bad. I still would have gone with the Green Bay group.
You can throw it to Edelman. I'm going to cover Josh Gordon.
Yeah, like I said, Joe's first year, Jason's first year, so give him some credit. I thought they overall did an excellent job of putting their teams together. They had a plan. They found value. So kudos to those guys.
Oh, yeah, Edelman pick now makes that a little more sense with that pick, though.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Good job, Joe.
But you got to realize. you got to realize I am very negative. I'm very critical. I think of everything. Maybe I don't know if it's my New York cynicism or what, but when I'm critical of my own team and my own moves. So well, apparently I'm going to be the most hated man in the online draft football community because everyone's team is going to go 6-10. No one's making the playoffs.
Let's talk about your pick here. Let's talk about the Houston tight end blocking back fullback group. Why them over Dallas or Chicago?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right after.
Receiving short pass guys. That's why he picked those. Yeah,
well, I'll tell you a couple of things. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of confidence in that pick, and I was really trying to figure out who I wanted from these tight end groups. And I love to run the two tight end. I believe, and Dave alluded to it with Ben Watson and his own team. I believe, the more good receiving options you can throw on the field, the better off you are. And these guys here, you get Garrett Graham and Owen Daniels, so it's mostly for the second tight end. Garrett Graham has a dot. He can go deep. He's solid number 2 receiver here, but not Jason Witten, not maxed out. Okay.
Remember, everybody's got a dot in this league. There's no limits on the maximum gains.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Tom, I'm telling you, Tom, that's exactly why I was considering the Houston group over even Graham. I opted for Graham when I looked at Watson carefully, but I know exactly why he took Houston because I was looking at them. They were my second choice to Graham in New Orleans.
It's confirmed, Dennis. You're right. It was a bad pick.
No, I just want to know why. I didn't remember the round before I took New England. So after that, I stopped looking at tight ends. I just was wondering.
Yeah, well, it's really the second tight end. Owen Daniels flat pass card with only 6 incompletes on wrong, and so it's a 5 flat pass card, and it's sort of a starting tight end short pass card with a 5. If you know where those ratings, a 5-5 flat pass short pass, and I felt like that was much more beneficial because then I'm going to have 4 good receiving targets depending who I get at running back, as opposed to going for the stud number 1 tight end, and then there's no number 2 guy, which is what the situation
I thought this was an excellent pick
with both Dallas and Chicago. So
yeah, good pick.
Mediocre. Let's see.
Excellent.
Indy wide receiver. I didn't get that one.
Yeah, I think if you're going there, why not take the Indy kick return, punt return card and steal Hilton from that group and take your wide receivers later.
Yeah, you get Des Bryant later on. You have Des Bryant and Hilton.
That's a nice one. That's a nice pat.
I mean, who Butcher's what team?
He is Wisconsin. One more, yeah.
I mean, who's the other guy there? Is it Reggie Wayne?
I guess. You do get a good punt returner in Griff Whalen.
Yeah.
He's the number 3 punt returner in the set.
Yeah. See, this Reggie Wayne card. I mean, that's it's not too exciting.
But if you take the Indy kick returner, punt return card, look at Hilton.
Hilton's great. Hilton's great bomb. Yeah. He's got
take him and pair him with Des Bryant or with one of the other wide receiver groups.
Yeah. Look,
the Tampa Bay group or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. That Tampa Bay group. Tequan Underwood as a 3rd receiver because he got a good flanker is nice. But yeah, there's guys that weren't even drafted, like you said, Des Bryant, even Torrey Smith. I'm not in love with Torrey Smith, but if you took the Indy return group, like you said, he didn't already have a return group, did he? Well, who was that?
No.
Butch?
No, Butch did not.
So yeah, I was surprised a little bit at that pick. Sam Bradford's that's a kind of a solid pick. That's Dave Szymanski, the Duke of Philadelphia.
Well, he's
good pick. I like that.
Good. Who is that guy picking his spot? That's a nice pick.
I was hoping Washington OL might slip to me that was a solid pick at this late point. I was surprised Houston wide receivers slipped. I know Andre Johnson doesn't have the big average, but he's still maxed out, flat and short, and Hopkins is decent. So I thought they were like one of the better like standalone like secondary receiver groups.
I agree.
They weren't there. They weren't there with Chicago and Denver and Green Bay and stuff like that. And if you were going to, go the return plus split end route, that's a great way to go as well. But if you needed a standalone group, just 2 guys who weren't too bad, that wasn't a bad way to go. And I thought David Patrick did a nice job getting them that late. And then look, you move on from here, and you kind of, you're filling team need. Look, you get Calvin Johnson in the 7th round. That is a great thing to do. Unfortunately, he is not alongside a max receiver, but I think we've had that discussion.
Yeah, I think we did have that discussion earlier.
Yes, I believe me. I was holding my nose looking at these running back groups. I thought about New England, even minus LeGarrette Blount. I like Chamberlain's receiving. And those guys aren't that bad running the ball, but Ridley fumbles a bit. I looked at the math, and the math on Alfred Morris and Roy Halou was better, and Halou can receive. But that's, I'm not going to be generating a lot of run calls with Alfred Morris back there. You know who's going to see the nickel 3-3-5? I'm going to see the nickel 3-3-5. Indianapolis halfbacks, Donald Brown's got a decent card. Now, he already had LeGarrette Blount, right? So that's a nice.
Yeah, I would have Tyke's pick a few picks later of the Oakland halfbacks. I would have rather had Oakland. If Marcel Reese comes with that group, you get Rashard Jennings, who's really just as good as Donald Brown. Guessed wrong.
Yeah,
so I would have gone with that group.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Marcel Reese was a good guy to get if you already had a halfback. Ty could afford that because he already has Andre Ellington. But like you said, Joe could afford it too because he had LeGarrette Blount, and Reese is definitely another receiving target. I think I like Donald Brown's card a little better than Rashad Jennings, but I think Jennings probably a better move the chains card. Donald Brennan kind of a little more of a home run card. He's got Chucky.
That's Joe. Joe won this here for Joe. Joe went up with a nice 1-2 punch in Blount and Donald Brown, so he'll get some run calls with those guys.
Oh no, the Joe circling the calendar. He wants to beat me.
He's got McCown with that 1-2 punch at the halfback.
With Josh McCown, yep. T.Y. Hilton.
Sure didn't do too good in Autumn Wind, did it?
What's that, McCown?
McCown and Brown.
I blame the coaching on that.
Yeah, must be the coaching. Although they did go 13-3 during the regular season.
That's
13
good.
and
What was
3.
Dennis.
Listen. I lead the league in regular season wins the past 4 or 5 years, and I got bumpkins to show for it. So, regular season wins. Just don't cut it around here, baby. It's a championship or nothing.
In Autumn Wind history, I'm 1 or 2 in total wins.
Nice.
In regular season.
Yeah,
postseason, don't talk to me.
Dennis, I'm not sure if you could pick this up, but I think Dave still might be slightly resentful about his loss at the hands of Dallas.
I think he might be.
Just slightly.
Just slightly.
All right.
Do you want sour grapes?
Let's see.
Let's move Tennessee wide receivers. What's that about? Any good? Anybody can do it over there?
Yeah, they're all right.
Dallas was ruined because the guy took the Dallas returner, so you couldn't take. Because Des Bryant, Terrence Williams is not a bad standalone if you need them. But I guess once you got past Tampa Bay, I was sweating it out for you a little bit. I was like, boy. When I started seeing, there was a run on, the standalone split ends. Josh Gordon went, and the other guy, I was like, oh, I wonder if Dennis is going to get screwed here. But, again, there was just too many split ends. It couldn't happen. Because not only did you get Vincent Jackson, but you still could have ended up with Des Bryant or whoever if Tampa Bay had gone,
Yeah, if Tampa Bay had gone, I was taking Des Bryant and Austin Miles or whoever.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Would see the field.
I'll tell you what. We just talked about Indy the round before. Tampa Bay as a standalone duo is far superior to Indy's receivers.
Yeah, they have nice 1-2-3 punch. Tequan Underwood's underrated. He's got a nice yardage card.
Yeah, I liked Underwood's card. I was looking at that.
He's one of those arms. He's one of those. Who's that guy in Washington? Anthony Armstrong.
Yeah,
one of those type of cards. Yeah. So now we got to shift to your.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Well, I got it.
Oh, okay, perfect. So here's the.
This is the Incredible Hulk
8th round, or do we go into the 9th round?
We are in the 8th round now.
Yeah, 8th round. So here's where you start seeing the run on kickers and punters. You got New Orleans defensive line by Dave. I thought that was a very nice pick. I was surprised that it lasted that long.
Yeah, I was thrilled to get another 12 pass rusher.
Here's my strap ball. Here's what I almost did. For my defensive line, I almost took New Orleans as a 4-3 D line. So you'd play 4-6, 4-0-0, whatever, and then that 6-12. But then I would do what Tom says all game. Just go 3-3-5, and that 4 downgraded defensive tackle goes back to a 5, and you just play strap ball that way. But
I do think this is really late to get to New Orleans 3-4. It's not a bad 3-4 at all because you got the pass rush is only the 1-4 defensive end. I thought about them, for my 3-4, but I just felt like, you know what, I want I don't want to have that weakness where I feel like I got to plug it, you know.
Right.
And even though I have no pass rush, I said I'm going to go 5.56, and get good ratings and say screw that, So, but
Yep.
it might play out better for Dave, who apparently likes the old sack.
Well, I just thought I'd go for it with my other 212 outside linebackers. I thought, let's put some real pressure on the offense.
So here's where Butch picked his kick returner punt returner unit. So if he would have in the previous round picked the Indy kick returner punt returner unit, then he could have doubled up here with another wide receiver group like Des Bryant, grabbed Des Bryant, and may have had a little bit of a bump there. But you're learning, first year draft, and these are the tricks of the trade that you got to figure out how to manipulate.
And he's a good coach. I think he's a very experienced draft football guy, from what I understand, that a good coach. So maybe he'll beat us all and then tell us to eat his dust or whatever. We should probably move on. We can move on pretty rapidly now because we're in the late part of the draft. 9th round, it's Matthew Stafford. The interesting choice. There's a lot of interesting choices once you got down to that 12 to 20 quarterback group. And Stafford is so good deep and pretty good flat, not the good short, that I thought he was an interesting choice. And I looked at him as a possible guy. You're not in love with him because of the interceptions, but you could see where he could do some things. What do you think about choosing Stafford over some other guys?
You need big plays. Where's his long pass right? On 9, I believe?
Well, he's got the units. I don't know where it is. But he's 7.15, I think, on the units, which is all that matters to me.
Let's look at the card. I like to look at numbers. So he's 8 and 10. And yes, he has a high interception chance with that extra straight pick on 3. But you need, in Battle Royale, you're going to need big plays. So go big or go home. This is the card that you use for that with a good, strong running back group. Let's see, who are his running backs?
San Diego.
Well, that's the problem. That's a little bit of a problem. Who's going to call run against that group?
Well, this is what looks like it's more of a defensive team. He's good against the run, excellent against the pass. He's got that Miami 4-3 and the Ravens linebacker, so good pass.
He's going to win with defense. He's going to get some short fields and hit some bombs. And
now he's got the Dallas offensive line, so that'll help running the ball.
Right. I see that. I see him working.
Gonzalez, A.J. Green, so interesting.
You're taking Stafford. You're taking Stafford instead of somebody like
I think a dunk guy.
No, who am I thinking of? Who's the Kansas City quarterback?
Alex Smith.
So your choices are Alex Smith or Stafford. And look at that. When you try to go deep with him, you're not going to do very well. So, I like that pick.
Yeah, he's got a lot. Well, look, and part of it, again, it's the rule set for guys who go back to the 80s and the regular strat rules. I know Dave was playing hyper advanced rules that the, oops guys came up with. But the game was a little like that. It was mid-80s strat is more like early 70s strat than it is like modern strat nowadays. And David Patrick, it looks like he's got like this team should be playing like 1971. He's gonna play good defense. He's gonna play good defense. He's got a good run blocking. You wish he had a little bit of a right back than Matthews, but not terrible. He'll probably do better than you think, like all running backs do. And he's gonna throw some bombs with Stafford. So if he hits it, he wins. If he doesn't, he loses. So it'll be interesting. But there's potential there for that team to do well. But always an interesting choice when you're looking at quarterbacks or running backs in the bottom and who you choose,
Let's talk about Jim's pick of the Pittsburgh tight end, fullback, and blocking back. I'll tell you why I love this pick. Paired with the New Orleans offensive line, New Orleans offensive line starts a 0-4 at left offensive tackle. But by picking this group, he snags Kevin Beachum from the Steelers offensive line group, who's a 4-4. So he upgrades his starting left tackle by taking this other group. That's not going to happen very often. You have to be paying attention to grab that kind of combo, and I thought that was brilliant.
That is brilliant. Yeah, that is you got to be really sharp to pick that one up.
I think, Dennis, that I would like to lobby at this time that in future Battle Royale leagues, an exception should be made for these offensive tackles who also got rated at tight end. I think they should stay with the offensive line group in the future. I think you should consider that because they all have no catches. They're not really tight ends, and you're destroying like an entire offensive line group possibly because some guy played tight end at the goal line once. You know what I'm saying?
I will take that under consideration, but I don't think I'm going to go that way. That's the beauty of Battle Royale.
All right,
Police
all right, all right, all right, all right. And you want to run a 30 team battle royale this way?
28 team. I think that would work.
Even 28. Because like I mean, how many guys are there out there? Well, actually, most of them are zeros anyway. But
I'll give it some consideration.
okay.
But that's when you're running like I will never do it for a 16, 17, 18 team league because you're looking for value. You're looking for that value. But you're right, for a 28 team league, you know, actually that's an excellent point. For a 28 team league or 27 team league, we do need to lock up and break out certain groups because we're going to run out of returners. Number one, and you're right. You don't want to break up these offensive lines when the units really don't go together. So yeah, I'll consider that for sure.
Very well. Denver return unit here for Dale, number 15. Trinidad Holiday's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not bad. He's not as good as some of his other cards. I think in this set he only has a good kick return card, not a good punt return card. Let me see. So let's see his rankings. So Holiday has the 20th punt return card and the 18th kick return card. I guess he's just, you know, this is according to Ed's rankings, which are pretty good for returners. So he's not as good as he does have the touchdown on both cards. So maybe that's where he's given his value.
Sure. So this is all just kickers and punters and some returners or guys still in the last unit that they needed. Not a lot to really look at or evaluate and say good or bad here, I guess. So, all right, let's go over to, you want to look at the rosters now?
Sure.
Do a quick unit by unit. All right. Guess we'll start with number 1, David Pagic. You got Peyton Manning, Eddie Lacy. You got Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins. You got Jason Witten. You got the Texans offensive line. I guess we'll go offense first. That's a pretty decent offense.
Yep, for sure. You got a top 10 running back, a top 5 quarterback, good receiver group, decent offensive line and halfback, tight end group. So yeah, solid.
Defensive line. Let's see. You got the Giants.
Good pass rush there, I think.
I need to
Tuck
bring
has
up.
a 5'11".
Yeah, I think he's the only one on that. I need to bring up this type of thing.
Let me look at
Giants are 5.554 and go 11.356 with the pass rush. So 5.554. You know, nowadays, now that we have followed the way that Derby has analyzed what Strat does, and you see that the better blocking comes on the left side, you know, suddenly having a 4 at right end is a little scarier than it used to be. I feel like because more 5s and 6s based on his situation. But again, in this format, you know, you're not going to have everything ideally the way you want it because there's 16 guys picking. Carolina linebackers and the Tennessee defensive backs. So that's going to be 5.64 at linebacker. That's pretty nice. You know, it's interesting. You know, I do the spreadsheet work, and I talked about how the 6 linebackers reign supreme, but that's only with the white die rule. With the white die rule not there, a 5 is pretty good. You know.
Yep, you're right.
And secondary, 5.6 a corner, 4 safety, 5 a free safety. So pretty solid looking defense, I'd say. And I know Dave's a real good coach. Average against the run, good against the pass. Average against the run, but he goes 5.55. So, you know, he should be able to play some run defense. Not a bad team.
Yeah.
You like the club, right?
Yeah, good club. That's what I'm saying. We're going to say this about almost every club. Every club's except rock solid. A lot of good teams here.
All right, Sean Riley, life of Riley. Drew Brees, Frank Gore, Brian Hartline and Mike Wallace. You got the Minnesota tight ends. That's not too exciting.
Yeah, lower half targets on the receivers and the tight ends, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I like the offensive line. That offensive line group is
a good one.
You're not going to give up very many sacks. Lots of 5s and 7s.
Sure.
The Cincinnati D-line is solid.
Buffalo linebacker, Arizona secondary. Good against the run, good against the pass. I'm not sure how I feel this team. Drew Brees got to kind of carry this team a little bit, I feel like. I don't think that linebacker group is that strong, is it? Buffalo?
They're 5.54, I think. So.
Yeah, 5.54. Okay.
Not bad.
I think like you said, almost every team we're going to say, a pretty good team. Because, you know, I think I like the other guy's team better, though. David's team better. No Herschel Walker. I think Sean had Herschel Walker in the USFL. Neil Shannon. I think we've blasted a couple of his picks, so. Wow.
Matt Ryan, Jamal Charles.
Matt Ryan, Jamal Charles. That's a nice way to start your team.
solid receiver group in Atlanta, even though we felt maybe he should have taken somebody else.
Sure.
Martellus Bennett as the tight end, solid.
Washington, not a bad offensive line, I think, for a lower.
I thought they were in the lower half.
They are. They're in the lower half, and I'm saying of the lower half ones. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Although, king of the dipshits, of the lower half, they weren't that bad. The Cleveland D-line, he's playing a 4-3. Didn't Cleveland play a 3-4 in the NFL?
No, they switched to a 4-3 a couple years ago. So let me look at them.
Yeah, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and New England.
Yeah, they're
averaging good. Really?
Let me see. Double check. Cleveland.
No.
No, you're right. It's a 3-4.
So
wait a minute.
So did you butcher this, or is he playing a?
Let me see.
What's going on here?
What's going on down
there?
there?
What's going on out there?
Let me see. Who am I looking at? This is
Cleveland. Okay, it's Cleveland one defense. Neil Shannon.
Okay, so this is Hilton Head. Let me check out what he sent me for his coach file. Team.
Yeah, they play a 3-4.
Yeah. So if he goes 4-3, that means he's got 4. Wait a minute. I think I messed it up. I think he's playing. Let me look at my email.
The ghost tackle then goes down one, doesn't it? If he plays.
Yeah. He would have a 5-4-0-4 defensive line.
I think I messed this up, guys.
You messed it up, or he messed it up?
I'm trying to see where.
Indianapolis linebackers. That's a 3-4 group, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think I messed it up on the spreadsheet. Let me see. Let me pull up my spreadsheet. I'm looking at your spreadsheet.
There's human error.
Neil.
Yeah, the culture 3-4. He needs to be playing a 3-4.
Yeah, 3-4.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
that's my fault. I'm
do a little quick math and tell me what that does to his running pass. I'll tell you one thing. It's not a very exciting looking group of ratings. You got 5-5-4 on the defensive line, then 4-4-4-6 at linebacker. Yes, you have Robert Mathis. I understand that 6-12-12, and then inside linebacker 9. So nice for that. But you might better run the ball well on this team.
So he's got 5-5-3 up front. Okay. Go ahead, keep going. I'm going to recalculate his team.
Yeah. It's exciting commentary here as we
move forward.
Public math is what we're working with right now. It's a 5-5-4, I think, for his guys, no?
Yeah, 5-5-4. So he's got 14 plus his linebackers are who?
4-4-4-6, Indianapolis.
Okay, Indy. So he's got Indy. Okay, so he's got 6, 20 plus 5, so 25 run. Yep, 25 run. I guess I have the calculations right, but I just had the formation wrong. So 25 and
okay. And who is his pass defense?
Who is his pass defense? Neil. He had New England. Where's DBs? So New England is 20.
Plus Indianapolis, that's 27. Yeah, because I'm good.
Right, 27. Yep. So I just got to change his default play calling. Yep.
Okay, so the disaster averted.
Averted, yes.
But still, average against the run, good against the pass. I don't know. I mean, he's got Matt Ryan, Jamal Charles. So that's great. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe I'm more into the defensive mood after playing in order to win this year and seeing all those excellence and how hard it was to move the ball against these teams. But, this guy's got Matt Ryan and Jamal Charles. The David Pachter factor. He's got Matt Stafford. We just talked about this team. Matt Stafford, Ryan Matthews. I don't think he does have Danny Woodhead because he has both the San Diego halfbacks and the returners, so that works out. He gets two Danny Woodheads, I think is what happens. A.J. Green, Mohamed Sanu, I guess Keenan Allen's going to be a third receiver. He's got the Atlanta tight ends, Tony Gonzalez. Dallas offensive line. We just talked about this team. I like this defense. A 4-3 defense, good and excellent. But Miami, Baltimore, Seattle, that sounds pretty strong.
Yeah.
With pass rush and the guys in the secondary, and he is good against the run. So that's going to be interesting to watch out. There's a lot of potential there if he can hit the big plays in offense.
I almost would have liked to see him go with the Miami halfbacks. So he had the same thing he had in Autumn Wind, where he had a hit or miss with the long gain on 4 with Reggie Bush, and then the hit or miss with the long gain on 8 with Matthew Stafford.
Reggie Bush is. Oh, you mean that's Detroit, not Miami?
I'm sorry, Detroit. Yeah, the Detroit halfbacks. If you would have grabbed them, that would have been an interesting tandem. But San Diego's good too.
Yeah, and more carries because you have Woodhead. I think Joy Cabell was already gone, possibly.
Right, but he picked up Woodhead in the.
Oh yes, I see. Yeah,
so he could have paired him up there. But
Dave Szymanski, the Duke of Philadelphia. You got Sam
Who
Bradford.
Who is he?
You get Sam Bradford. He's getting hurt. You got Sam Bradford. You got LaShawn McCoy. You got Calvin Johnson, an overrated Golden Tate card. Let's see, Jimmy Graham. Who's his offensive line there?
Cleveland. So I think Cleveland has like a 0-3 at one of the ends, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, those second half of the draft offensive lines, they really weren't that bad. I mean, I looked at them all; they're really not that bad.
So he goes 4-3-4-3 on his right side, a 4-3-0-3.
Then you got the New Orleans and Washington. He's only average against the run, but it's a 3-4, so you can have a linebacker up there often. San Francisco secondary. It's a good team, I think, because that defense looks like you can do some things. I think it's going to play better than that average in the front seven because it's a 3-4 and you have a nose tackle 5. And then Sam Bradford, LaShawn McCoy, look, quarterback running back combo still rules the day. So I think
just like we saw an autumn win with Locker and McCoy.
Yeah. So is that
think about it. I have the best receiving tight end. I have the best receiving wide receiver, top rate, among the top 2 or 3, and I have the top rated 1 or 2 running backs.
You also have the top wide receiver named after a precious metal. So make sure you keep that in mind.
That's another factor. I almost forgot to factor that in.
So I guess Dave, what he's telling us is,
And I have 3 12s on the pass rushing.
So
man.
So basically, Dave,
put him down for the championship now. That's a damn good team.
4 of my 5 Raider coverage guys are 5, 5, 6, 6, 5.
So Dave, what you're telling us is pretty much a cakewalk. Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I'm saying it assures me of being competitive.
You guys got to pick out your playoff teams while we're going through these teams and put a little check by the teams you think are going to make the playoffs.
Okay. Well, I'll make a mental check. We'll see. I know what I can do. Now I got to go back and start all over again.
No, you don't. Just look back and see if any of those guys look like a playoff team to you.
I am. All right, hold on.
Remember, you got to factor in coaching too.
Yeah. So Dave is out then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, which game? You got a lot of days to factor in.
Just knock all of them out. Knock all of the above.
I'll let you know which one.
No, Pactor, Pajek, and Szymanski, the 3-headed Dave monster.
The Daves of death.
Well, it's better to call me Duke.
Okay. All right, Dave. How come I don't like Sean Riley to make the playoffs? He's got a pretty good team.
He does have a good team.
Why am I admitting him?
Breeze interceptions might hold him back. I don't know. He has a solid team. But remember, that's the thing is that everybody has a solid team here.
Yeah, they're all solid teams.
So do I have to put more than 3 teams in the playoffs, or?
No, you can do just 3. You can get your top 3.
As long as one of them's mine.
Now what is it? 9 and 7 or better, and you make the playoffs? That type of deal?
Yeah. Yep. 9 or 7. 9 wins and you're in.
All right,
or actually, I'm sorry. It's a 15-game schedule, so 8 wins and you're in. 8 and 7 gets you in the playoffs this year.
Okay. So you have 10 teams in the playoffs, basically. All right, let's look at Butcher's team. You got Big Ben, you got AP, you got T.Y. Hilton, and no one else. You got the Seattle tight ends, Detroit offensive line. It's a good thing. I'll tell you what. It's a good thing you got Adrian Peterson because the rest of the offense might be struggling.
He needs to hit those big numbers. I mean, I don't particularly care for that. With an average defense, that he's going to have trouble stopping people. So he needs to outscore them. And I don't know if Big Ben can carry the load.
Okay, Lawrence. You got Phillip Rivers. I like that Phillip Rivers caught a lot. Matt Forte, not bad. He got carries. Denver receivers, Tennessee tight end.
Delaney Walker. Cutting out here, I think. Minnesota defensive line, Cleveland linebackers. Average good. He's got the good pass defense, which I think is important.
Did we lose Tom?
Yeah, we lost Tom for a little bit, so let's just keep forging on. He'll jump back in.
Okay.
So I like this team. I think it's got playoff potential. I'm going to mark it down as a playoff team for me. Tom's team: Tony Romo, Alfred Morris, some really nice Chicago wide receivers. The Houston tight ends, which you guys are talking me into. The offensive line, again, is one of the lower half offensive lines. His strength is that defense. Look at that. Nobody has as many 5s and 6s up front as him, except maybe Jason. But those two defenses, those two good, almost excellent and an excellent run defense. I like this team. What do you think, Dave? Do you think this is a playoff team?
I don't see the graph now. I don't see the players.
Oh, hold on. Really, let me share my screen.
Yeah, Tom was sharing the screen. I could see it before.
Okay. So here you go.
But it sounds like okay.
So Dallas, Washington, Chicago, Houston, KC. His defense is excellent up front, good in the back too. He's got good. I like that. I think I'm going to mark this as a playoff team.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely playoff material.
Plus, Tom will kill me if I don't. So
that's right.
Jason's. I like that Nick Foles card. Jason got Nick Foles. I don't like those halfbacks. The Denver halfbacks weren't even on my top 16. I would have gone with Carolina there when he picked Denver.
Wide receivers aren't that strong.
No, he's going to struggle offensively, so that means he's going to have
that strong.
Yeah, and the San Francisco offensive line will help those Denver running backs actually with all the 6s and 5s running the ball. So hey Tom. So we're on Jason now. We
put you in the playoffs while you were gone.
Yeah, put you in the playoffs already.
That was easy.
You're in the Super Bowl against Dave, so it's going to be fun.
Golden Tate catches the winning touchdown.
Or not. Okay. So I like Jason's defense. He's gonna need to run the ball and try to minimize his turnovers. Foles has a low turnover card, and the defense will have to carry the day. I'm gonna not put him in the playoffs just because he's a first-year coach in this league, but he's right there on the cusp. Let's look at Paul's team. Want to take back over, Tom?
Sure. I don't have myself in the playoffs as of now. So far, I have 2 teams. So far, there are 9 teams. There are 8 teams. I have 2 teams in the playoffs.
And you only need 8 wins. I have 4 teams in the playoffs so far. So let's see Paul. Paul's going to join him, I think.
You said what?
I think he's going to join him. I think I like this team.
I have you with 10
wins. I thought you meant he was going to join us. Okay. Thanks, Dave. Paul, let's see. Aaron Rodgers, DeMarco Murray, Green Bay receivers, the vaunted Charger tight end blocking back group, Denver offensive line, plus Paul is a good coach. Tricky. Now you got him at Tennessee with a 4-3. I thought Paul was playing a 3-4 with that group.
I have him as a 4-3 on my sheet.
Check your email.
He's playing a 3-4?
I think he says he's 3-4.
Really? Oh man, another one I got. I'm glad you guys are on. I'm glad we're doing this just for that.
Well, there is a coach's card sent out. Hold on, let me look at the Escondido burritos. I think he's going. I'm pretty sure he's going 3-4 with Jarrell Casey as a nose tackle 5-12, and the Green Bay linebacker group. I think he emailed it out. I could be wrong. It rarely happens, but it does happen.
Got to find that email. Keep going, guys.
Okay, well, it's 5-4-4. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought I saw that somewhere.
No, Paul's going again.
Paul's going. Yeah, he said 4-3, average. So
just like I said.
That's correct.
Interesting. Tennessee, Green Bay, Miami. Oh, because
Tom, could you share your screen again, or
I could,
or Dennis, so I could see the numbers?
Sure. I should go back to Internet Explorer. This Google Chrome is crashing on me. We never had that problem.
There we go. Beautiful.
Feel free to share your screen too, Dennis, when you like.
Sure.
Because I'm not locked on mine. So, well, look, it's Paul. I'm going to put in the playoffs because I'm putting people in yellow in the playoffs. I have 3 teams out of 10 so far. I don't have myself in the playoffs either, thanks to Alfred Morris. Joe Golden. I think he's going to go all the way. I looked at the draft. I said he did a great job. All right, never mind. I feel bad for Joe. I feel bad for Joe. I was killing his draft picks mercilessly. Forgive me, Joe. Joe, he's circling the calendar. Josh McCown, Donald Brown.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
Josh
But he
Gordon.
does have a good. He does have a good run defense. He can overcall on the pass and try to hit those. Man, Donald Brown and LeGarrette Blount. I think that's okay. It's a nice combo with Josh McCown.
Yeah, I think you're just mentioning him too quickly. I think he's actually a decent coach, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So Josh McCown with Donald Brown and LeGarrette Blount. Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman, Greg Olson. I like that blocking back group from Carolina because you get Mike Tolbert in there.
Yeah, I just don't like any of the first-year coaches to make the playoffs simply because you have to adjust to the way the rule set plays. It's entirely different than your modern stock league or your modern draft league.
Yeah, but most of these guys who have played a long time, like I said, this is an old rule set that's being that's been reinvigorated. It's not.
Okay.
It's not a new. I probably played more games with this rule set than I have with the other one.
Cool.
When I was a kid, that's all we played was this rule set.
I didn't start playing online until after the V3 rule changes. I started with V4, so this is to me this is
the rudimentary rule set before Strat improved the game. Is what you
gotcha.
have.
Gotcha.
The obvious dig is obvious dig.
Rudy. We're gonna put the Rudy in rudimentary.
I don't know what to do with this Joe Golden defense here.
Yeah,
what do the Saints look like?
Saints are okay.
Four.
The
4-6, 4-4. All right.
He's gonna have to put some pressure on with those New England outside linebackers. Let's see.
I'm gonna have him missing it too. I'm 3 for 11. Now there's gonna be some retro modifications when I finish this. Now, Dennis, you might have the best team.
I don't think so.
You got. I think you
I like
really.
My team. I like my offense, and I do think I'll be in the playoffs because it's only 8 wins. I can get 8 wins, and I have yet. Well, I shouldn't say this because now that means I'm not going to make the playoffs. But I've made the playoffs in every battle royale so far, so I'd like to think I can do it again. But
let's see. Andrew Luck, Freddie Jackson, Vincent Jackson, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Charger offensive line. I was going to score a lot of points. Detroit defense, Cincinnati. I'm not that in love with the defense, especially because they're going to play a 4-3.
Yeah, my front 7 are weak, but at least they complement each other somewhat because Detroit's strong in the middle, weak on the edges, and Cincinnati has at least one edge that's strong. And
I'll put you in the place right now. I got David Pagic, I got Dave Szymanski, I got Paul Halfmankowitz, and Dennis Crowley so far. Tyke, Russell Wilson.
You missed your own team though.
I have not picked myself for the playoffs. I don't like.
He's being humble. I like that.
I try to be objective.
Now you'll make the playoffs. Come on, it's 8 wins.
And I say that everybody stinks.
It's 8 wins, and you have a lot of good talent.
Everybody can't win 8 games though, Dennis.
That's true.
That's right. Only about 11 of us can.
Half of us could win 8, and the other half could win 7.
Yes.
And then everybody's in the playoffs, except for the 7.
Yes, Tyke is Russell Wilson, Rashad Jennings, and Andre Ellington. There's Arizona receivers. Vernon Davis gives him a big boost, I think, helping those Arizona receivers. Colts offensive line. I love that KCD line, the nose tackle 6, especially in the good. Philly linebacker, Colts secondary. Well, that seems like right in the cusp, I feel like.
Yeah. I think he makes it. I think he gets in.
Well, he made the Super Bowl against two.
Good. I think that's a playoff team.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he made the Super Bowl against you, so I'm assuming he can coach well. Plus, he's the Derby guy. Well, I'm going to hold off judgment. That's how tough I am. I only got 14 wins so far. I'll add a bunch more teams in a minute when we finish. I just don't do it willy-nilly. Gentleman Jim. Got the red rifle.
Unfortunately, I think that's the guy who's going to keep him out of the playoffs. He has a really good team. It's just my captain. I just don't like Dalton leading that charge.
I don't think the running backs are that strong either.
Yeah.
They're underrated. I think that Carolina can do okay. I would have liked to see Jason take them instead of Denver.
Now, the Carolina backs might be underrated, but the Andy Dalton, D'Angelo Williams combo is not underrated.
That offense is going to struggle. Dalton, bottom of the barrel running backs. Even though I still like them, they're 12th or 13th or 14th in this format. Tennessee wide receivers, they're also bottom of the league if you're ranking them. Pittsburgh tight ends, not too much in love with them. I like the combination with the New Orleans offensive line, but they're not going to move the chains for you as much as some other groups. He's got to do it defensively. It's going to be all the defense.
Yeah,
That offense is just going to, here's what he should do. After he gets a turnover, just kick a field goal. Or run the ball. Do not let Dalton throw. Do not let Dalton throw the ball.
No, come on. He's got a great flat pass guard. You got to throw flats at him.
Okay, throw flat to him. That's it.
Throw
Flats
flats
and run.
then kick a field goal.
But he's not bad long pass roll. I know you said the offense is going to struggle, but man, look at that front seven.
Yeah, beautiful.
And in this, I don't know, in this format, it's already hard enough with no dump off and no white die 6. Strat was always like a 17-13 type of game. Mid-80 Strat was a 17-13 type of game, and that's what this rule set is to me. Now there's a lot of great quarterbacks, so it's a little different, but I don't think you're not going to have teams lighting up the scoreboard like you get in some of these modern leagues, I think, because of the rule set. And we sort of want to win how hard it is to move the ball against some of these teams that are like excellent. They're always really good against the pass, but man, Seattle, Arizona, that combo, that's going to be what is 5-5-5-5-6. I know there's not much pass rush, but like I said, I don't think the pass rush matters.
No, but there is. If you mix and match the Seattle defensive lines, remember they have 2 4-10 sitting on the bench. So you can get a lot of pass rush. I mean, when people go third downs and 3 wide, bring those guys in.
All right, but let's look at first and second down. You get 6-5, 6-5 in the line.
Yep.
And then you got 5-6-6 at linebacker.
Nice.
I mean, that's vicious.
Very nice. It is. All right, you're talking me into him. You're talking me into this as a playoff team.
And then the secondary, he's got who now?
Baltimore. Oh no, Cincy. Yep, so lots of 5s there.
Corner, 5 safety, 5 free safety. So you double this 4 a lot. It's a shame because I think you're 5 linebackers on the same side. That defense is going to play real well. I've kind of moved over to the defensive side in these double counting leagues, as I call them. Offense struggles. Oh yeah, I don't know how you're going to move the ball with Andy Dalton and D'Angelo Williams.
That's the problem. But what a defense.
Someone's got to make the playoffs. I got to put somebody in there. I'm going to put Jim in there.
You're going to put him in, okay? I'm going to say
no. Because I have to. I only had 4 guys before that. We're almost done. So by default, Jim's making. I think the defense is going to be bruising. I mean, you see with some of these Baltimore defenses, they're holding people to 12 points a game. So I know he's done excellent, but he's close. And of course, I know it's 30-team league, it's 16, blah blah blah. Dale Carnegie, is this Dale from Somifa who coaches?
Yeah. No. This is not Dale Ripley. This is Dale Van Deven, who's plays in some stock leagues and plays in.
Another Canadian boy.
He's in. No, he's not Canadian. He's Missourian.
Oh, he's not a Canadian. He's not one of the Canadian guys.
You're thinking of Paul Power. Dale. So. Yeah, Dale is a good guy. I think he plays in for Frozen Tundra or Spring Fever. He's in one of those. He's in Spring Fever. He's Missouri in Spring Fever. So it's
not Dale Ripley.
Nope.
Believe it or not.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
He better be a good coach because he's got Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, that's another one. I've done that before. I actually had a Battle Royale team, I think, with Kevin Cobb as my quarterback or something. It's tough to do. You can win, but it's tough.
Was that Buffalo Kevin Cobb guy? They had a real good
yeah, it's a nice card. So.
Yeah, I don't know who's got Ryan Tannehill. I don't know. He's going to be RG3 or Alex Smith or.
So he's gonna flat pass you and run with Lynch and Tannehill.
Indeed, and I think ball control works well in this rule set. Actually, you need to move the chains with the running back. He's got the Minnesota offensive line. I think that's a decent line. Matt Khalil's still living off a reputation. New Orleans wide receivers. That's not too exciting. Is Marcus Colston maxed out short pass? He might be.
What matters more is the flat pass on those cards, and they got good flat passes.
I don't know.
Stills, if you get a wrong card, Stills can go hit with the yardage.
I got him in the spring. Detroit tight ends and New Orleans wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that. I'm going to say not a playoff team, but just
hold on. Close. He's got the vaunted Rams. The Rams front four is awesome.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh, Carolina. I'm not going to pick him either.
He needs sacks and he needs big runs by Lynch.
I think. I'm not going to pick him either. Rick Byrons. I don't know him. Why don't you give us his bio as you always do?
Rick is in Autumn Wind. He's in. He's been
coaching for 35 years and knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Does he play in Frozen Tundra or Spring Fever or only Autumn
He
Wind?
plays the Spring Fever,
Yeah,
Autumn
Spring
Wind,
Fever.
and I think he plays in the retro, a lot of the retro leagues too. He's playing
He
a
always
lot
puts
of
together.
leagues.
He always puts together good teams. He's a good guy,
He's a
and
very good coach. He's an
yeah,
excellent coach.
yeah. So he knows
Right.
what he's doing.
You got Tom Brady. You got used to running backs. It's not a big group for one of the ones that's not the top ones. Aaron Foster only 14 carries unfatigued because I was looking at them. But Ben Tate's not too bad either.
I like that Philly tight end group.
Philly Wyatt Giant, where she was not in love with them, but since you have the Philly tight ends and you got Brady and you got decent backs, not too bad. Philly offensive line, you don't like it, but it can run block. As a unit, I think the offense will move pretty well. I think at the Buffalo front four.
Let me tell you something
That's
about
nice.
Rick, a little historic, because I've been coaching against him for 37 years. He once got Dan Fouts as his quarterback.
Have you beaten him yet?
Have I beaten him yet?
Yeah, you said you've been coaching against for 37 years. Have you beaten him yet?
Yes, I have beaten him many times.
I'm
In
just
fact,
teasing.
the team I'm about to tell you about almost went undefeated, except I defeated it. He put Dan Fouts at quarterback, and with the rules we had, he maxed out his pass blocking. Nobody had ever tried this before, and basically put together an all-passing attack, and he pretty much ripped a hole into the side of the league there for a while. So he's got a unique coaching background, but that's just a little insight into his past.
Very well. And Detroit, is it Detroit's linebackers? That's kind of an ugly group.
Yeah, he that was the last linebacker group picked. So you got to give it to him. At least he had like a 5 and a 6 in there with a 0 on one side.
Yeah, I was going to
His 6
say,
is up the middle.
I was looking at 0.65. That 6 middle linebacker is strong. You can coach around. You can coach around that group, and he's got the Buffalo front four, where I think Mario Williams is on the left side or the right side. He's on the right side, unfortunately. So it's 4-6-5-6 for the Buffalo front four. So that zero linebacker, it would be the one helping that 4 defensive end. So that's not a great matchup. But I think that front seven will still play pretty well because the middle linebacker 6 who can run around and do some things, and the Buffalo front four is pretty good. And secondary, you got Buffalo. Secondary, they have. I don't think they have that good one. Buffalo.
I'll be right back, guys. I got to check on something.
You have 5-4 at corner, 4 at safety, 6 at free safety. So not the best secondary in the world, but I like the front seven. I like that this team looks kind of like well put together. You know, the offense, maybe they don't have the most sensational wide receivers, but the offense as a whole looks like it works pretty well. Sure, you have a 0 left linebacker, but you got the great pass rush in the Buffalo front four. You got a 6. The secondary is a bit of a problem, but in this rule set, I don't think passing is going to be king rather. So yeah, I like this Rick team. Even got Dwayne Harris returning.
I'm not thrilled with the offense, though. I think the offense has got some weaknesses with the running back situation. I don't think it's strong enough with the tight end. I don't know.
Okay. I'm putting him in the playoffs. I like the offense in terms of, you know, Brady's the only quote-unquote great player, and I know he's only a 5 or 6 quarterback in this set, something like that. But everyone else is like pretty solid, you know, pretty good. Not great, not high-end, I understand that. But because of Brady, I think it all complements each other. I think it works well. And you tell me the guy can coach, so I'm going to put him in the playoffs. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Coach.
I got 6 guys. I got 6 guys in the playoffs out of a 16-team field. When you only have to go 8 and 7 to get in, so obviously I got to put some other teams in there.
No, that's good. 6 is good.
It's not going to be
6.
I'm not going to pick 6 when it's going to be more than 6.
It might not be though. There's been years where we've only had like 4 or 5 people make the playoffs.
I will wager against you that there will be more than 6 teams in the playoffs. Would you like to take that action?
Sure. So I get anything 6 or lower, I win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah,
how much are you betting? $20?
Yeah, $20. $20. I'll send it to your
PayPal.
To your PayPal.
Okay.
I heard it.
Now you know I'm going to be throwing games late in the year to make sure the other guys get in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, maybe then we should not do the bet. I know you wouldn't do that.
Not for $20. I wouldn't do that. I got to add a couple more teams. I think you're going to get 8 teams in there probably.
Yeah, I actually do have 8 teams in there also.
I put Rick in the playoffs. I kind of like the way his team is put together. I don't know if you heard it.
Yep.
But Dave disagrees. I think his offense has a weakness. I understand none of these units individually is outstanding outside of the quarterback with Tom Brady, but I feel like there's a lot of complementary pieces that work well together. I mean, Foster and Ben Tate. Foster's had a pretty good card, and Tate's not bad, and you're getting a lot of wrong calls because of Brady. I'm not in love with the giant receivers, but they're okay. You have the Philly to the end, Philly line. I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna renege on that bet. I just looked at a couple things, and I just realized that if we have some bad teams, if we have 3 or 4 bad teams that win like 4 games, does that mean more teams in the playoffs or less? I think that means more, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really pay attention to that. I just look at the 16 teams we all drafted. Most of the teams are pretty good. Even the teams that might be on the lower end aren't like awful. No one's out there.
I think you're right.
No one's out there with Geno Smith and Matt Asiata. It's not going to win bad team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't like the idea of the commissioner making bets and people throwing games, even though we're joking around. I just think that let's just skip that bet part. Let's keep it legit. Keep it real.
Yeah, so, I think Dennis makes a good point there. I'd also like to point out to any listeners that I'm willing to take any side action, when Dennis is not around. I got to put a couple more teams in the playoffs. I got six teams. I got to add at least one more.
Okay, so let me go through my playoff teams.
Okay.
I'm putting in Pachter, Szymanski, Lawrence, Tom, Paul, myself, Tyke, and Rick, and Jim. So is that 8? That's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. No, that's 9. I got 9 teams in the playoffs.
Okay. I got to add. I'm sure, Dave, do you have a list of playoff teams? I'm sure you don't.
No, I don't.
Okay. I guessed it. I called it. I'll tell you, I know I had Tyke on the cusp before. I know he can coach. I like Russell Wilson with the Indianapolis offensive line. Joe Golden's team is not bad. I don't know what's going on in the defense. The back 7. I'll put Tyke in there.
Okay.
And
so read me your teams from top to bottom.
All right, hold on. And I might put one more in there.
You had Pagic making it, right?
Yeah. Did I pick myself or not? Hold on.
So basically, you need to pick 12 of the 16 teams are playoff teams, right?
So what? No.
Me? I said 9.
No. Tom looks like he's gonna pick about 12 teams to make.
No, he's the other way. He's only got 6 teams in. He's only got 6 teams in.
I only had 6 making it out of 16, and now I'm adding Tyke as a 7th. I might add one more. Just 1 second. Obviously, it's very pivotal. Who Tom Cook chooses as his playoff team. Romo, Alfred Morris, my Bears. My team looks like it's less than the sum of its parts.
Your coaching will get in there.
If I pick myself, I'm not going to make it. So I'll still. Yeah, I'll put my team in the playoffs. Why not?
There you go.
It's always good to give people more reason to despise my online remarks. All right, I've got half the team, half the league in the playoffs.
Okay, so who are your teams, playoff teams?
David Pagic.
Okay.
The Duke of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He's lucky he got LaShawn McCoy. That's why he's talking all that smack. I put my team in as a latecomer. I put in Paul Mankiewicz because he always makes the playoffs. But your team in there because I love the offense and you always make the playoffs. I put Tyke in there, interesting team, and he just made the SFFDL championship game, so I'm assuming he's a real good coach, even though I've never played him. I'm putting Jim in there. I should probably take Jim out. I know the defense is good, but I got to take Jim out. I can't. D'Angelo Williams and Andy Dalton?
Yeah, I'm taking him out too. Sorry, Jim. Jim's listening to us right now. That Dalton thing just kills me. So really, I
don't mind the Dalton thing as much as you do.
Yeah.
But Andy Dalton and D'Angelo Williams, that's not going to get you that far.
So we have the exact same teams in the playoffs, except you have Pagic and I have Pachter of the differing Daves, and I also added Lawrence in there.
Yeah, you got the Pachter factor. I don't have the Pachter factor. I like the turnovers.
Should be good.
That's Lord Byron's. That's who that
Yeah,
is.
I have Rick in too. I have Lord Byron's in as well.
So I got 7 teams in. You got 8 or 9?
I have 9. You have 8. Oh, you have 7. I have 9.
7. I got rid of Jim.
Oh, you got rid of Jim. Okay, so hold on.
I'm down to 7 again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. I got rid of Jim too.
I'd like to pick only about 3 teams to make it, but I know that under league rules it's going to be more than that. So.
All right, I'm going to put Jim back in. I'm waffling.
Just because he's listening, now that doesn't make any sense.
No, because he promised me he wouldn't have Andy Dalton throw the ball. He says he's gonna go ball control offense. So
okay, well in that case maybe he could make it.
If he keeps
we know what happened with Jim.
No bombs.
So Jim can't talk, but he's listening. Is that Jim Riley listening?
Yeah, he's listening right now.
All right. Well, you don't have. I have a funny story to tell you with Jim. You know what happened with Jim? So I joined Battle Royale Summer Sprint. Right. Last year we did the USFL. Only had a small group of coaches, but it was a lot of fun. I had a good defensive team. I started off 6-0, then I collapsed in the second half, made the Super Bowl, and got blown out by you, Dennis. And I played a game against Jim. I don't know if it was the first half of the season or the second half of the season. I totally shut down his offense. He had like 53 yards for 3 quarters. And in typical Tom Cook mode, I do this lengthy write-up, War and Peace about how he was punting every time and couldn't move the ball and this and that and that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I do the write-up, and Jim's like, "Oh, I realized I couldn't move the ball well." Right. Then, ever since then, he beat me 2 straight games, I think, like in that league. And then in Autumn Win, he beats me with his 2-win team. All right. Totally shuts me down. Like Andrew Luck, he's got 0s and 4s running around the whole defense. Totally shuts me down. I think blows me out maybe. And then he does a super lengthy write-up, a month later, after the season's over. He was 5-11. A month later, it's a super lengthy write-up and emails it to Larry and me. I'm like, all right, I think I might have hurt Jim's feelings with my lengthy write-up last year.
No, you don't understand about Jim.
He
writes
Jim
up every
write-ups on any game.
He does a lengthy write-up on every single game. I love that about him.
Okay.
And he'll often just mail them out to the league, and because he's so busy with his lawyering thing, the write-ups will come out 3 weeks later. So that definitely wasn't a shot at you or a grudge at you. That's just what he did.
Well, no, it would have been a justified shot because I was just waxing poetic about my defense in the U.S.
And he played that team. That team he had an Autumn Wind.
Awful team.
Had a good season, and both games against him were so tough. He almost beat me both times.
Well, you know what I did is I went spreadsheet mode against him, and my spreadsheets were passing is the best play. So I was passing every single play and not running at all with C.J. Spiller, and it didn't work out too well.
Yeah, about Jim's write-ups, it's really kind of interesting. He does do these long write-ups, but even if he loses, most guys. I remember Ed Barrow, and Jim will remember this. I don't know if you remember, Dennis. He would write up these long things when he'd win, and they'd be about 1 paragraph when he lost.
Yeah, I don't know.
At least he's doing something. At
A
least
lot of times he wouldn't even write up his losses.
Yeah, I never understand that criticism because I kind of feel like, hey, to the victor go the spoils. Why should I write up a defeat? You write it up. You won.
Yep, I'm with you there. I mean, I will try to do it at least some write-ups, but I still haven't gotten around to writing up my Autumn Wind loss to Tim. And I thought now with these video broadcasts, I don't even know if you need write-ups with the big games broadcast. Yeah. That takes the place of a write-up very nicely, I think.
Yes, it does.
You look at his back 7. He had this is Jim's Autumn Win team. He was 5-6-4-0 on the line. He was 0-0-4 at linebacker, 4-4-0-0 in the secondary. I guess you can't blame me for throwing passes, but it's I wouldn't run the ball. He was going nickel, and I think I was going through why he's going nickel. And he's double teaming, doing a great job double teaming. I lost 20-14. He had only 2 wins. He was 2-10. He was 2-10, and then he won 3 of his last 4 to totally ruin his draft position.
He always plays the win, but if you look at my games against him, after I went 13-3. I barely beat him 17-13 in the first game, and the second game was 28-14. But that game was a lot closer, even though if you look at the first half, it was 7-7 at the half. This guy is coaching up these zeros on the back 7 better than anybody I've seen. So well done to him.
Yeah. I always play to win too, I don't know. Just the way I am. I mean, maybe I'll prep more with a good team. If I got a bad team, I might not do a lot of pregame prep. But yeah, Luck threw 42 passes. Luck was 25 for 42, 216. I lost 20-14. That game bothers me, Jim. I shouldn't let that happen. I was going to touchdown with 2:42 to go to make it 2014. I couldn't move the ball. He had me stonewalled. I had 267 yards of offense. I threw 42 passes. I only had 19 runs, and 2 of those were Andrew Luck, so I could have run the ball a little more. CJ Spiller, the longest run of 9 yards. That's not going to get the job done.
Nope. All right, guys, I got to call it a night. It was fun talking about the Battle Royale season. I hope everybody is enjoying the format and that we have a bunch more of these, at least 2 a year for the foreseeable future, maybe more if we can find 28 coaches that want to try this for free 1 year.
That'd be. I would love to do that. I don't worry about stretching myself too thin. I'm already.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm almost in one league too many right now for the spring. I may only do some for one season. We'll see. But it would be hard to pass up an opportunity to do a 20 team battle royale and give my spreadsheets the ultimate workout.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it in the summer. Maybe we just replace the summer league and try to get as many coaches as we can and try it there.
And what are you going to do when Paul half man half Mankiewicz complains to you that you're not doing the 1984 USFL because he said in the summer last year, we better do 1984 next year. That's all I know.
It just depends on the number of coaches. If 84 works, 84 works.
Can we get Paul on here one of these nights? We need to get Paul on one of these nights.
He's asleep. He's an early riser, so we'll have to do like a 6 a.m. podcast one day.
Is he a West Coast guy? He's a West Coast guy, right?
But he gets up like at the crack of dawn. So
I'll talk. I'll do one with him. I've got an idea for a show. I want to do a show where we talk about building a long-term modern roster. Maybe have like me, you, Paul, and maybe Ed Burrow or something like that. That'd be a good show. Like in the spring.
Sounds good.
Like when the off season, we're deep in the off season. So, all right, Dennis, we'll let you go. I know you're trying to sign off, and I'm preventing you from doing it.
Take care. Good luck to everybody this year.
And by the way,
Shuriken. Seattle Shuriken.
But I like your Malcolm Butler jersey. It looks good on you.
There we go. Go Hawks. Woo!
All right, take care, Dennis.
Okay, see you guys.
All right, Dave, we'll see you later. Good job. Good show. All right, guys, this is Tom Cook. I'm the last of the Mohegans over here. I'll be signing off. James Riley is still listening. This looks like it's gone on. James signed off. So now it's just me and you, the friendly listener. We were talking Battle Royale draft tonight. Battle Royale is a single-season draft league in which each coach drafts one team's units. You could draft a team's group of quarterbacks, a team's group of halfbacks, a team's group of receivers, a team's group of defensive linemen. Each one of those is one of your selections, okay? And we have 16 teams doing this spring's Battle Royale. It's a 10-round draft. We do one pick a night in your assorted slots. We do not play with the dump-off. We don't play with the 6 white die for the linebacker, emphasizing the 6 linebackers. So it's really more of an old-fashioned sort of 1980s style strap football. For those of you who played dice and cards back then, there are no formation limitations, so you might see a lot of nickel 3-3-5s on first and second down. There's no restriction on free safety blitz, so God help you if you can't pass block. There is running back fatigue and quarterback and run limits, so it's not a true old school sort of no limits type of a deal. But it's an interesting rule set. A lot of people like the rule set. They want to get rid of the luck factor involved in the dump offs and the white die 6 on the linebackers, which generate big plays that people feel are not merited by the play calling. I can see that that thought. And we'll be starting play very shortly, probably within a couple of days. A lot of very good coaches here. I don't know all these guys. I have not played against David Pachter, Butch, Jason, Tyke, even though I know him. Dale, Rick Byrons. But I've heard good things about most of these guys. Obviously, Dennis is a great coach. Paul's a great coach. Jim Riley, I know, is a well-respected coach. So, you know, the coaching talent looks pretty strong. It is a prize league. There's this an entry fee, and it's a prize league, so it should be fun. The summer one was real fun, and so next time you see a Battle Royale thread going up, you know, pop in. Maybe you'll be interested in joining. All right, guys, this is Tom signing off after a lot of broadcasting today. Have a good night. Bye-bye.